And now on Who's Views, it's time to join JT, Paul, and Third Doctor Ian for the latest headlines.
The troubled BBC produces its annual report, but is it still the home for Doctor Who? Hello everybody, how are you doing? It's us at Who's Views. As you can see, I'm here with Paul, I'm here with Third Doctor Ian. Hello gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It is the 19th of July 2026. This is your big show here on Who's Views. It's headlines. It is good to see you. We've got a lot to get through tonight, and hopefully you're all ready with your opinions and your views, because tonight we're looking at the BBC's annual report. Oh, yes, we are indeed, because have you heard? Yes, the BBC annual report has been published. Yeah, so we're going to be looking at parts of it. In addition to the shows I did with some headlines on Tuesday, which was the breaking news at the time, we are going to be looking at the BBC's Director General, Matt Britton, who says they're working hard on Doctor Who, and BBC Studio CEO Tom Fussell. We're in it to win it. There you go, gentlemen. That's what we're going to be looking at.
Sounds like a fix to me, but that's all I'm saying. Allegedly. Yeah.
Well, there you go. I'm saying nothing at this point. A lot of you in the chat, though, are already with us, so it's good to see you. But they're the questions we're going to be asking you. So, yeah. First of all, though, everybody, have you seen this very day, as we're getting into this with the BBC? Well, firstly, have you seen the annual report?
No.
Well,
No.
This is it here. Look at this. Now, this is the BBC's annual report, and it's a very hefty volume, as usual with these things. Look at this. A BBC for all. This is what they're pushing, everybody. This is it. A BBC for all. Now, this is one of their new marketing lines, I believe. Have you guys heard of this?
I've heard of it, but how many pages is it? Just to see if I can have that time
How
back.
many pages? Yeah. I don't know. Let's count them together.
Okay.
Look at this. This is the introduction there for Samir Shah, who's the chairman of the BBC. A thriving BBC for today and tomorrow.
Oh, it's all bullshit.
And not the day after, obviously.
Is that literally 256 pages of utter bullshit?
Well,
Yeah.
It's an annual report, so yeah.
Oh,
Now, listen, I have tried to read. That's Matt Britton there, as you can see, the new director.
It's just weird. Does Matt Britton sound like a superhero? It really does.
Yeah, he does actually, doesn't it? Yeah. See, now I could have saved them, Ian, some time and space on this bit. Our audiences, I would have said there aren't many.
Yeah, just one line in block capitals. That's what you did.
Yeah. But look at this, viewers. This is what you're getting here. Now, as I say, I tried to read. I've read some of this. I got bored. I have to say, it's not my industry. I was only reading it for the purposes of this show, and also, as any ammunition in the future to say what the BBC isn't doing or what it isn't doing. It always happens. Our BBC, Our Future. Can you see that there? Isn't that lovely?
It's effectively BBC's manifesto. That's what it is, isn't it?
Yes, in a sense. Yes.
Yeah.
And what comes across as we're going to go through in the show, Who viewers, as well. There it is against the BBC for all. What comes across is that the BBC has actually just done very well, and they're really pushing that. But there are certain elements, of course, as we all know. I mean, look at this: pursue truth with no agenda. Ian.
So it's a comedy document. It is literally 256 pages of a turd polishing exercise, isn't it?
I knew he'd be tickled by that bit. Back homegrown storytelling, UK talent and creativity worldwide, and bringing people together, connections, not division.
Got that the wrong way around.
Again, yeah.
Where have they got that from? Connections, not division. That's all they've been doing over the last, 10 years or so? It's dividing the nation. We've got head of BBC Persian here.
Because we all need that, don't we?
Yeah.
That's not a waste of money in any way, shape, or form. Here we've got the local democracy reporter.
Yeah, you can tell she's got pronouns, can't you?
Yeah.
Oh yes, a lot of these people you can tell. But what's the local democracy reporter? Can anyone please answer me? Postcards only to JT, BBC Television Centre, London W12AQT. That'll get to me in the next few years. Here we've got the senior journalist, BBC News Investigations. They've got a lot to look at the moment, haven't they, really?
Yeah, they must be very busy, yeah.
Yeah, this is a case study, pilot Polish language news website, harnessing AI translation technology. Ian, we're going to be looking at AI as part of this.
Right.
Yeah, this could time with what we heard last year, or the year before about AI. Because believe it or not, they've created a department.
Well, of course they have, because we're paying for it.
Yeah.
Well,
And that'll do some people out of a job. I saw George Lucas said something similar about AI is going to make filmmaking so much better, which I think is nonsense, frankly. But yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, he did, didn't he? Now, look, there's a bit there. You can see the world between the fishy thing there. Can you see that picture there?
Oh, yeah.
This is some input from screenwriter and an executive producer. Yeah, right, fine. There we have Mackenzie Crook, BAFTA award-winning writer, actor, and director. That's because he had a huge success with that show there, didn't he?
Small Profits.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ian.
Yeah.
Thank you. I've forgotten that. I was looking at my notes. So they've included it in their annual report. But again, these sorts of things, the BBC Commission, as we know now, they commission everything. This is the creative director of Bradford 2025, which was the UK City of Culture. Now, I know I was in hospital, but it passed me by. What about you two?
I was outside and it all passed me by as well. So,
I've seen more culture in a yogurt.
Yeah.
Bradford. I mean, no offense if you live in Bradford, but come on, it's got its problems. Is that why they gave it the city? I remember when it started off all those years ago with Glasgow, the City of Culture. What a year we had.
Yeah,
I was going to all sorts of things. Now, this, everybody, is the social media manager for the BBC.
Yes, he looks the type.
He should be fired, I would imagine, yes.
Out of a cannon.
About 10. A trusted destination for all audiences exploring the impact of AI. That's a case study in this. So
was that sort of like hyping up that new chat show that woman with the fringe has got?
Well, she's finished now. She's left,
hasn't she? Walked away from it, hasn't she?
Yeah. She did a few episodes and thought it wasn't for them. It's a shame because Claudia, I think, could be quite good.
Yeah.
Obviously the production team just tried and did something. I never saw it. And then we've got this about delivering across the UK. I mean, this is what you're seeing, everybody. The BBC across the UK. This is their annual report. Okay, look at this. Are you bored yet?
You can tell why it's not authentic, JT, because you're on page 60. Right. So you're almost a quarter of the way through it. And I haven't seen a picture of a drag queen yet, which means it isn't representative of what the BBC is like, because they're bloody everywhere.
That's on page 255 or something like that.
They should be on it. They're everywhere else. So you would imagine if it was representative, they'd be on every page, wouldn't you?
You'd like to think so, yeah.
As they are with all of their adverts and stuff like this and everything we have. And then it goes into the now mandatory environmentally sustainability, all this sort of stuff here. There's another bit there from the War Between the Lands. High impact drama, low impact production. It was a case study, and they used a picture of the war between the land and the fishy thing there. Then it goes into the charitable work, commercial operations, which is also the BBC Studio side of stuff. So BBC Commercial, that is Tom Fussell there, who we'll come to later. That's the CEO of BBC Studios. We're going to be looking at some of the stuff he has said, look at this. So yes, you get the picture now, everybody, don't you? You know where we're going. So there you go. Yeah.
Thank God it's electronic. Imagine if you printed that copy off. What a waste of paper that would be. Yeah, or maybe not. Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, right. Yeah. So anyway, now also today, and I don't know if you know this, Ian and Paul, but earlier today, as part of this whole thing, the BBC has actually launched a new trailer promoting itself. Now, do you remember? You might remember back in 1983, there was this thing from what's it called? What was it called? It was this thing from the BBC, which John Cleese did, and it was called "What Has the BBC Ever Done for Me?"
Oh yes, I remember that, and I have actually seen a clip of this. Don't the Nasty Pepper Pots appear in this? Do they?
They do. Yes, they do.
Yeah.
And the thing about this is this is a new version of this
All right. Yeah.
of this thing that they did. And basically what they're doing here, everybody, is they are showing you through this 3-minute film, if you like, what the BBC has done for you. And it's trying to promote as part of the annual report off the back of this, starring all these things. So it's basically taking the idea from what Cleese hosted or presented in '83, where his character was walking around going, "What's the BBC done?" Now they've replaced it with this gentleman here, whose name is
Ramesh Ranganathan. He's on everything.
He is on everything. He seems to be a favourite.
It's based on what the Romans did for us in the Monty Python movie, isn't it? That's the thing. That's where it comes from.
I think so. Yeah. So what it does is it goes through these various things. Now, obviously, this is on the YouTube player. It dropped several hours ago today.
The Daleks don't appear in Albert Square. Could that make it canon if they did?
Oh, God. Oh, be quiet. They don't, but they are on in a second. They do appear in a second. Yeah. And he says it around about this point, or into the introduction of the Doctor Who thing. There are some things I would never tamper with, for example. And it's here. Watch closely, boys and girls. There we go.
Aren't they problematic?
Yes.
Shame they missed him.
Yeah. Well, that's a nice treat to see them at least. I like that bit anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is it. So this is their latest video. Again, it's tying in with all this thing. It just gets to me at this moment. They are really trying to say to the public,
please like us.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
We're trying to adjust ourselves to you. This is what we're doing. Did you know what I mean? Because it does come across a lot. I mean, this must have taken ages to put together as well.
Yeah.
But this has all come out today. As I say, this is part of what the BBC are doing when it comes to their annual report and promoting themselves. So this appeared on their YouTube channels, and of course, it's going to appear on BBC One and BBC Two, and probably everything else as well.
It'd have been funnier if Chris McCausland or whatever his name is had actually looked the wrong way, because he's always playing on that anyway, isn't he? Which is fair enough. But he looked straight at camera then, which made me immediately think it wasn't authentic.
Yeah. Well, anyway, if you want to know more about that, you can. Look, there's the biggest hit.
Oh, Bluey.
Bluey. Except that's not Bluey there. Really.
That's Brownie, I think. Can I say that? I don't know.
That's one of the biggest hits. Bluey, of course, gets a huge mention. Call the Midwife that you've seen there. Don't forget, Call the Midwife, like Downton Abbey, who viewers, got a film.
Yeah. And so did Ghosts as well, really.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. It's all insane. It's all mad. They managed to do what Doctor Who couldn't do. They got films.
Yeah.
Digby, let's get into the chat. Digby, it's good to see you. Thank you for your super chat. It's wonderful that the Beeb have hired their most expensive celebs to tell the public what a good deal they are. All that money, still no one looked up the meaning of irony.
It's a bit like silvery and bronzy. I think that's how it works. Yeah, so.
We are going to be looking at some of those celebrities. Alleged celebrities, honestly, in this show, because I've got all that for you. Quast1 is saying, I'm surprised that the Daleks aren't the coloured ones. No. Problem being, hello, good to see you. Problem being here, I love how they're promoting current BBC Drek. It just reminds you that they only produce cheap-looking woke tat. Julianne is with us saying, this is just a trailer of everything they've ruined in the last 10 years. I hate that Romash, says Howardas122. As funny as a dose of the exploding diarrhea bug. Oh,
I'd rather have that, to be quite honest.
That seems hilarious, I have to say.
I'm sure it'd have its merits. Does him?
I'm sure it does, yeah.
Paddy Bloody Guinness appears in everything as well. It's almost like they've got them on a permanent retainer and they have to use them everywhere. I just don't get it.
Like you said, Ian, it's interesting the Daleks were used in that if they are problematic, because they need to have legs now or whatever. It's just bizarre. Yeah.
Well, now that you know who's gone, let's just hope that has an effect. This is something else we want to talk about in the show, as we get to this, because I am going to be asking you all in the poll today, everybody, about the BBC and Doctor Who. The Jason Parker high impact drama, low impact production. They got that the wrong way round. Example, The Fishy Thing cost 10 million to make per episode, but brought in 1.79 to 2.82 million viewers. Yeah,
if you were lucky. Yeah.
Well said, Paul. Yeah, absolutely. And Legion of James, even the trailer is a tick box exercise that does not represent anything outside the London bubble. Again, that's part of the whole problem. FJ Canal, good to see you as well. £15 a month, that's 2 subscriptions to other providers. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And Matt Enspiel was saying to us, gosh, it drags a bit, doesn't it? See what he did there.
Yeah. There's one thing I'm interested. I noticed that Fellas McGraw was in that trailer as well.
Yes.
Now the Aardman stuff, does Aardman make it for the BBC?
Yes.
Or Aardman make it themselves and the BBC buy it off them?
Well, the last one that was a huge success 2 Christmases ago, don't forget,
Yeah.
was for the BBC and Netflix.
Right. Okay. Oh, I was just wondering because I'd wondered if they were taking the credit for something someone else had made, is what I was trying to make out. Yeah.
Well, I think they do. I think they do.
Yeah.
We have to remember, of course, and I was explaining this. I'll do the thank yous in a minute, but I was explaining this as JOT1D, or trying to explain it in my best way when I'm typing, because I prefer to do everything like this. But I was explaining that BBC Studios is the commercial arm. The BBC don't make any of their programs now. They commission them, and then they may contribute some money into it from the license fee payer, but everything's farmed out. Everything, as we now know with Doctor Who, everything has been tendered out, so it's done by an independent production company. In our day, the BBC did everything, and it was all done from the donut.
Yeah.
Mark Greaves, thank you for your super chat. Hi, JT, Ian, and Paul. So good to see you after a visit to the cinema with my partner to see The Odyssey, a film so bad I was nearly single by the end. Oh, well, that serves you right then. That'll learn you. I've got no interest in that thing.
My nephew-in-law saw it and he loved it. So there you go. It's all a matter of taste, I suppose.
I tried to read The Odyssey years ago because it was in those days we had to read it at school. And for some reason, we never finished it, probably because it was like massive and you would only do it every now and then. And you had other things to read, like Sunset Song and stuff like that. And I tried to read it after I left school, but life gets in the way. So it's one of those books which is somewhere around, probably still with a bit of paper in it, as to where I left it when I was 17, 18 years old.
Well, it's written by Homer, so it's going to be dreadful, to be fair, I'd imagine. But
well, I didn't know Homer Simpson even read.
Right, to be honest.
We've got 2 super chats at the top of the show from Lex here, so let's put these up. Thank you, Lex. Apologies, I'm sorry I can't make it for headlines tonight. It's my great uncle David's funeral tomorrow afternoon. My dad, who's a minister, is speaking. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Lex.
Our thoughts with you, Lex. Yeah.
Oh, bless you. And he sent us another one here as well. But however, the great show last night, my nephew and niece are over. Well, all the best to you and your family, Lex, and I hope everything goes all right tomorrow. Gosh, yeah. On that note, before we get started, I would like to say, as usual, a huge thank you to everybody that has been getting in touch this week, Lex included. So thank you to Stephen O'Neill, to Bob James, to the Legion of James, to AD Mitchell, to Problem Being, to Darren Hunt, to Martin Dusty, Fafty Head, Alan Eveson, to Rory Stanish, to Jason Ganelli, Linda Harper, Steve Hindley, Raymond Williams, to Farsight, to George Yosano. Hidden History in the Holy, thank you to you. JOT1D that I mentioned, Loxter 71, Michael Webster, Phil S, Paul Charmer, to Crimpling Doubloon, to Gary Bryant, to Oscar Bravo Tango, and to Paul Ure, Cody W1, and also to Matt Pott. So thank you very much, everybody, for being in touch this week. I really appreciate it. Yes, and to Matt Pott and to the Legion of James, all the best, as well as to Lex there, because everybody's been in... they've had a terrible week. And so from everybody here at Who's Views to you guys,
condolences, to Matt particularly. I saw Matt's mum passed away. Yeah.
Oh, bless you. Right, okay, so let's get into the show. Lots of you with us tonight. Thank you for being with us. Let's get in with this. I'm going to start with the poll now. I'm going to preempt the poll with you on this one, everybody. It's a very simple question for you tonight as we go through this. I'm going to leave this up for most of the show, so the guys have got to remind me it's there because I will forget. That's the other reason I'm doing it now, because I will forget. It's very easy. Now you can vote for this now, or you can wait till we've gone through all the evidence, my lord. Okay, but the question is very simple. Is the BBC still the right home for Doctor Who? 1 for yes or 2 for no. Is the BBC still the right home for Doctor Who? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Okay.
So no option for maybe then, possibly, no.
No.
Get off the fence, boy.
It's not that easy.
I think it's on the fence sometimes. It was like,
Splinters. Firstly, before we get into that, though, I mentioned AD Mitchell there in the thanks. AD Mitchell, of course, is one of our regular artists here on Whose Views, and he has done a couple of thumbnails for us now, which is always appreciated. There's a couple more coming from him as well. But I was chatting to AD this week, and look what else he's done.
Oh, nice.
So this is him doing War of the Daleks, a cover for War of the Daleks, which would have been the sequel to Genesis in what he was looking at.
Mhm.
Very nice. Well done here.
That would have been very nice. The image of that superb. Imagine a sequel to it. I know we had Destiny, but with Harry and Sarah would be lovely, wouldn't it? Yeah.
It would have been.
Yeah. And I think, Ian, you're going to like this one.
Oh, nice.
It's got Harriers in there as well. Oh, what is there not to love?
Yeah.
Oh,
This
my
is,
word.
I think this would be a gorgeous book cover for Rise of the Silurians.
Yeah.
Isn't that fabulous?
Oh, my
Yes,
word.
nice.
So, AD, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And
It looks so much better than Warriors of the Deep, I have to say.
AD's been a bit poorly recently as well, so I hope you're feeling a little bit better now, mate, and get well soon. Lots of you enjoyed Bravehearts 1.5. Not seen you before, just spotted you in the chat. Thank you for joining us. It's good to see you. Carl Gibson's in there as well. Thank you very much. John Booth, hello to you. Kevin Taylor, hiya. Matt the Silent is with us, gentlemen. And Mark, Cool and Dry, is there too. Rocking Terry Lee, how are you, pal? Hope things are fine and dandy for you over in the States. Lots and lots of digital pollution. And Digby is saying to us on the poll, it really depends if the Beeb can get that house in order. Bradley Broadfoot as well. Good to see you. Thank you for voting. And Julianne is saying about AD's pictures there. Oh, these would be great A3 frame posters. I've told him this, Julianne.
Yeah.
Told him this. Yeah. Watch this space.
Can we get some in Blackpool, maybe, possibly? Maybe.
Watch this space. Honestly, I was like, anyway, we've got this from FJ Canal. Great covers, such talented artists out there in fandom, isn't there? Just absolutely. John Mason saying, oh, they're nice. Avon is with us saying, oh, lovely artwork. They're fab, aren't they? And as I say, watch, and Kirsty's going, nice. Watch out, because there is some more artwork coming on thumbnails from AD for us for up and coming shows, and they're wonderful. They are fabulous. Lovely artwork from Sets of Man and Steve Braddock, another one of our resident artists, is also saying both excellent. Problem Being is now saying, just a reminder that when the BBC weren't in control of it and it went to Bad Wolf, we got the worst Doctor Who ever.
Yes.
But when they were in control of it, last time we got Jodie Whittaker, which was the next worst ever. So it's a difficult one there, isn't it?
It's a good question, and that's why I'm only letting you do yes or no. Who's this? Ron did Jurgies, 1903. Hiya, nice to see you. They have lost their rights to produce it. I would imagine that means because of what's gone on recently and how it looks. Am I right there, Ron did?
I think the thing about it is, if they've not learned from the mistakes and realised why it failed, then they may as well not bother. That's the thing. So
it's just like locking it into an abusive relationship, isn't it? It's done it so much harm.
Go back for more, basically.
Yeah, why would you leave it there?
Yeah, exactly. I hate to think. I managed to mistake a can of spray paint for a can of spray varnish, and I'm now having to repaint the 8th Doctor. Arg, says Terry Leptel. Oh, God. It sounds very stressful. I'm sorry. Oh, and Terry, Terry Lee, I hope everything's all right with you there, mate. You look after yourself. Goodness me. And we've got the Chorus Sci-Fi Fantasy joining us with a super chat. Thank you, mate. Evening, gentlemen. Was you aware that Radio Free Scaro name dropped you as Toxic and Twisted? Oh, you're so much better than them. Did they really?
Oh, nice. That's good. It's nice to feel wanted, isn't it? That's nice. That's good. Yeah.
I think we should just pack up and stop now, because obviously they are the arbiters of everything. And, they're just, I've never, ever paid any attention to them, but they probably just need flushing.
I have never, ever listened to one of them, but thank you so much for paying attention to us. Thank you for tuning in all the time. And if you call Truth and Reality Toxic and Twisted, I'd see a psychiatrist if I were you lot.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Probably why they're saying things like that, because they want people to go and listen to them now. But,
Yeah.
Cheers.
yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah.
I love it
Up
when,
yours.
when
Yeah.
I love it when we I don't know who they are. But thank you.
Are they not across the pond? I think. I'm not sure.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. So obviously
Probably Joe Biden. Doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, they probably love them. Look at this, Lee Smith saying Toxic and Twisted sounds like a cocktail. Hang on, I'm just making a note of that.
Yeah. I'll have
We
one.
can
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Serve them in Blackpool.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
For the meet and greet that we're planning. Absolutely. Because all I came up with was TARDIS Tantalizer. But anyway, Quast. As long as it's the third worst, it should be okay. Matt Ensfield saying, which one is Toxic and who is Twisted? Well, yeah. Well, I'm both.
Yeah, well, if there should be three of us, if the three of us are trying to list, who have they missed out? You know, are we two of us Toxic, two of us Twisted? How does that work? You know, it's like we can't even count. That's the thing. So yeah. So
I've got this Digital Pollution knows me so well because he's just said, "Oh, Toxic and Twisted, there's a new T-shirt coming soon." You know me so well, don't you? Now, everybody, you know that was going through my. Didn't you? Julianne is saying, Radio Who? Never heard of them. Never have I. No. Never listened to anything. It's good that they're watching, says Philip Tassini, isn't it? Fabulous. And Rory and Neil saying, "Ooh, Toxic and Twisted is the next RTD show on Channel 4.
That's a Tippy Toey sequel, isn't it?
The Tippy Toey sequel. Yeah. Do you know what, Rory? You're probably right because he'll be much more angry now. I tell you. Dalek Shalom, Toxic and Twisted on my good points. Join the club. Stand with me. Yeah. FJ Canal. Aren't Toxic and Twisted playing the O2 next month? Sounds a bit like Sooty and Sweep to me as well.
Yeah, if they're a heavy metal band, yeah, exactly. So.
Yeah. With Peter Capaldi. And Toxic and Trusted sounds good to me, says Ron Didjerg. Well, what's toxic to one is truth to me. Is a hard truth for them. A trans woman's a man. Ooh, that's probably going to hit them. There you go. They won't like that. So, Funky, toxic and twisted. They just can't believe what they're hearing. That's very true. Listen, I don't want to really publicize Britney's record anymore because it's so old hat now, isn't it? Do you remember?
Yeah.
I used to play it all the time when I was DJing. It was because it was big at the time. Oh, and I could mix it.
It was a surreal hearing Toxic in the Into the World in season 1 for New Who, wasn't it? That was just weird. You know?
Oh yeah. But because I loved the record at the time, it was after the event. But because I loved it, I thought, but it did take me out for a minute because I thought, am I working tonight? I forgot for a minute I wasn't. Radio Skyro, never seen a tangent in their lives, says Mark Greaves. Who's Toxic and Twisted badges, says Rick Storm.
That should be the third one, Toxic, Twisted, and Tangents. That's what we should have had, really, to be fair.
That's a good one. Yeah, I might try and twist that in somewhere. And Space Peninsula, they're Canadian, so they aren't allowed to judge anyone. Canada. I mean, we've got some lovely, lovely friends over in Canada on this channel, haven't we? And I always say to them, oh, God bless you, because Canada's worse than everywhere. Well, Canada and Australia, they're worse than us. The only thing we've got going for us now is
You've got me.
Yeah.
Completely.
You burn them.
Don't.
Yeah.
And Sheila be in the devotions is with us saying, Toxic and Twisted, is that Bill Shatner's heavy metal band? Oh, can't wait for that album.
Yeah.
And Mark is saying, F them. Ooh, I take Toxic and Twisted. It needs to be a segment on Who's Views. Well, these sorts of things, if I keep getting these gifts, they work themselves into the shows eventually, everybody. But let's keep up with the Toxic and Twisted theme then, shall we? And look at the BBC. Because as we were saying there, yes, the annual report is out, everybody. And so as we have been saying here on Who's Views, this is the new BBC Director General, Matt Britton. And as we've said before, what a job he has. The BBC is in dire straits, no matter what they might try to.
They're a good band, I have to say, Dire Straits. Yeah, like them. Yeah.
This is going to be a musical show. I could tell.
They want money for nothing, then, don't they?
They always have done. Let's be honest. Yeah. So,
see what he did there, everybody. Yeah. Well done, Ian. Gosh, he's on form. Well done.
I've peaked. That's
Set
it
you
now.
up there, though.
No,
Set
yeah,
you
he's
up
finished
there.
now. That's it, done.
Yeah.
We're only half an hour into the show and he's finished now. But listen, I hope not, because let's look at this first, actually, from the Telegraph, everybody. This is 500,000 more reject the license fee in a year of BBC scandals. The new DJ says decline has contributed to financial challenges facing the corporation. Now, this is quite interesting. So let's have a look at this together. The number of people paying the license fee has fallen by more than 500,000 in a year of scandals at the BBC. The BBC's annual report released on Tuesday shows the number of people paying the fee fell by 539,000 to 23.3 million in the past year alone. It follows a year in which the BBC was hit by a series of scandals. And then the Telegraph makes me laugh because it loves to list them. In October, the Telegraph revealed that a speech by Donald Trump had been doctored in a Panorama episode, giving the impression that the US president encouraged supporters to storm the Capitol building in 2021. An internal BBC review of the documentary Gaza, How to Survive a War Zone, concluded that it had breached editorial guidelines on accuracy by failing to disclose information about the position of the child's narrator's father in the Hamas-run government. The scandals led to the resignations of Tim Davie as Director General and Deborah Turnus as Chief Executive of BBC News. Remember that?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The fall in license fee payers, gentlemen, is the highest annual drop since the COVID pandemic, when numbers, I don't know if I can say that, who cares? When numbers fell by, it happened, get over it.
Yeah.
When numbers fell by 738,000, it means the number of people paying is the lowest now since 1999. Now, 1999, we have to say, our beloved country was a completely different beast. There weren't as many people in our country in 1999 as there are now. So this is a significant drop already. Lower than it was in 1999. That's shocking, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was a lot more tolerant country as well, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
We were. I've said it before, haven't I? And at the turn of the century, I was walking down Fleet
It's
Street.
not rose-tinted. It's not rose-tinted or anything. It genuinely was.
Yeah,
more tolerant.
The story I've said before is I remember clear as, but I was walking down Fleet Street to go to Boots the Chemist to get some lunch, and I remember thinking, "This is good. The vibe is good. There's no isms or phobia or anything. People are just getting on with their lives. People seem to be coming together." I remember thinking, "We're nearly there. We're nearly there." And then a whole new load of activism started with people creating problems just to try and solve them. And now look at the mess we're in. But you're absolutely right. The article carries on. The BBC report finds that income from the license fee, which stands at £180 per household, remains insufficient to sustain a universal public service. Matt Britton said the decline had contributed to the financial challenge facing the corporation. Well, duh. However, thanks to the rising cost of the license fee, the continual rising cost of the license fee, I would have said there, Telegraph, the BBC collected 3.88 billion from it in the most recent financial year, representing an increase of 36 million on the previous year. That's because it went up. I mean, and continue, all the time, isn't it? It's going up all the time. It's getting like your trains on the 1st of January now. We're expecting a rise every year. And we now, unfortunately, expect the BBC to put the thing up. I mean, hasn't it gone up twice in the last year?
And they're wasting about 2 billion on bureaucracy, haven't they? Let's be honest. So, yeah.
How many millions were going on the DEI program?
Yeah.
Quite a lot.
June Sapong. Don't get me started on June Sapong. Have you heard about June Sapong? She got a peerage this week, didn't she, with that idiot from London, Khan?
Oh, God, yeah.
And she was in charge of the BBC's whole DEI originally, wasn't she? June Sapong. Do you know? Oh, I'm off. Do you know? I met June Sapong in the 90s when she was trying to be a presenter, and she was struggling to read the auto cue, and she got the blooming job. Do you know? Yeah. I was miffed. Call me bitter. There's a chip on my shoulder about so many things. That could have been me getting that peerage. Dame JT.
Interesting what you say there, JT, because Starmer said that whenever he left, he was not going to do giving out all the peerages things, and there he is.
He's doing them. Surprise, surprise. Yeah.
Gave one to his buddy.
Khan said that House of Lords was an anachronism and should be got rid of, and yet here he is now. He's got a peerage. His views changed. How self-serving. Yeah.
It's take the money, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And let's be honest here, ladies and gentlemen. In my opinion, he's the biggest ist going. Have you seen the state of London today? Goodness me. Anyway, let's get back into the story. Where are we? The report also details the income of the BBC's highest paid stars. The list is topped. Now, if you're outside the UK, actually, if you're inside the UK, you may not have heard of any of these because I certainly didn't. But look at this. The list is topped by Scott Mills, who has just been released from BBC Radio 2 with The Breakfast Show. And he was paid between $745,000 and $749,999, yes, 999, for hosting the Radio 2 Breakfast Show and Eurovision coverage before he was sacked in April over allegations about his personal conduct. Yeah, enough of that. We won't go into that. But look at this. These, ladies and gentlemen, are the BBC's highest paid stars now. Look at this.
That's part of the problem, isn't it? They're wasting so much money giving these people really horrendous amounts of pay. It's obscene.
It is obscene. This is the funding. Yeah, Ian, this is from the license fee payer.
I mean that Naga Munchetti comes across to me as a real acidic bitch. Personal opinion. And Fiona Bruce is as nasty as her photo looks, to be honest.
Yeah.
But Alan Shearer, dear God, I mean, and Laura Comfort. No, I could say it about all of them, really. Stephen Nolan, Radio Ulster. Who the bloody hell is he? £500,000 nearly.
Yeah. Look at this, everybody. This is terrible. I mean, I have to agree with that Naga Munchetti. I think she's vile. I think she's just vile. If you show any sort of a right-wing tendency, she's going to eat you or try to. Come on this show, Naga, and if you're odd enough, honestly. Justin Webb. Now, Justin Webb, he's from Radio 4, isn't he?
Yeah, he does. I think he used to do the Today programme, and he does certain special programmes now, I think.
Well, Justin Webb is the 7th on the list. Now, I think he might be, and Problem Being and Legion of James might be able to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a couple of years ago, he got in trouble for calling a trans woman a man on the radio, on BBC Radio, and they didn't like that. So I think he got into trouble there. As you can see that, as we've said, Naga is on there as well. She's the 8th highest presenter. God knows why. Fiona Bruce is there. She does Question Time, ha ha ha, and she's 9th. She also does the Antiques Roadshow, doesn't she? Her salary is between $345,000 and $349,999. Yes.
Yeah, Fiona Bruce has worked off her feet, isn't it? Let's be honest. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Why is it all 999s?
Is it something?
It makes it seem more reasonable. So you might buy a video for $9.99. It sounds cheaper. That's what it sounds like. Yeah, so.
I think Ian's right. I thought it was something to do with tax.
Yeah.
Honestly, I did. I looked at that and thought, this is very suspicious. Like buying a sofa from DFS. You go and it's $999 at the end of it, didn't you?
Laura Koonsberg was their political editor at one point, and she left the BBC, but she's got a programme there. I bet that's going through a company. But if it is, then I'm amazed they've announced
Laura
it.
Koonsberg, yes, she's doing the Andrew Marr kind of show now, isn't she? That
Sunday
kind
show,
of,
didn't she?
Yeah.
Got no time for her either.
Yeah.
No time for it at all. But just look at those figures, everybody. It's scandalous. We'll go back to the article. We got here. Oh, now we'll go to this bit. The annual report also acknowledges the damage done to the BBC by the series of scandals. It states, reputationally, a series of high-profile incidents have adversely impacted public perceptions of the BBC's impartiality. The number of people who believe the BBC is impartial in its reporting has fallen over the past year. I'm sorry, it must be over the past several years. Yeah. While the number of adults using BBC News each week has now dropped from 74% to 72%. In his foreword to the report, Mr. Britton wrote, "Today the BBC has never been more needed. On the side of the audience and their most trusted news provider, the cornerstone of our creative economy and a force that brings us together. It is vital that the BBC puts its hands up and apologizes when it makes mistakes and is always fully accountable, transparent in its response, and open to rigorous scrutiny."
What it does, though, is when something comes out like a scandal, they fire 2 people and then move on and just do the same thing again. You know, they're scapegoats when they get fired, and they never learn from the mistakes, never change anything. They just continue in the same vein of the way they work.
Yeah, they just need somebody falling on the sword, and then they think they can ignore it.
And that's it. We're sorry, but we're not really sorry, and we'll just move on. Yeah.
There's always scapegoats.
Yeah.
There's always scapegoats. We've got here, thank you for that, you Robert Payne, and Richard Brooks saying to us, BBC News are not the trusted provider. They do not unite our country.
No.
It'd be a challenge to try and find somebody within the BBC, allegedly, who likes Britain, I would say. Do you not think? Honestly. Rory Neal, Ken Bruce was right. Oh, he was. He saw it all happening, didn't he? Honestly.
Yeah.
FJ Kanao saying, I think I filled in a consultation document on BBC's future. I wasn't very positive. Good. You have to be honest.
Yeah.
You know?
I
Honestly,
think I did the same. I think
they do. Will it make any difference? We'll have to see, but I doubt it. But yeah.
This is what, again, the big question I'm asking you in the poll. Is the BBC now the right home for Doctor Who? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Nice and simple as we go through this, because this all ties in. Because as you know, the BBC want the Doctor. Julianne is saying it's not rocket science. If they produce what people want, didn't make us feel like we're in a social engineering experiment, and didn't hire every degenerate between here and Mars, we might buy a license.
Yeah, I often wonder how the BBC vet people. I won't dwell on it too much, but it's not that rigorous a system, is it? Let's be honest.
The times I applied, you had to fill in that now obligatory with everybody DEI questionnaire.
Yeah.
About your sexuality, your colour, your religion. And I always thought, why am I doing this? What has that got to do with my suitability? And you just know, because when you're in business, you know this, don't you? It goes down to them being able to say, oh, we're tolerant and we're equal and all that nonsense now. You know, thankfully in our country, well, it was. Let's see what happens after tomorrow with our alleged new prime minister taking the hold. But DEI is now coming out of an awful lot of businesses because of what's been going on in our country over the last several weeks, a very short time. People are waking up to certain things, and some businesses have said, we're not doing those things anymore. They don't have to, so they're not going to do that. They are going back to that good old-fashioned way of saying, we'll put the advert out there, see who comes in, and then we'll judge them on merit. But there is still an awful lot of stuff going on, Paul, where it is all about the DEI. And so that's
the way it always should have been, really, because regardless of disability, gender, ethnicity, can you do the job or not? It should be the question you're asking, really. Do the job properly. And if they are disabled and talented doing that job, that's brilliant. Fine. Hire them. It's fine. As long as they can do the job. You know, I've no problem with that, you know. But
yeah. A lot of you joining us in the chat with this. So keep this coming. Jason J, good to see you. I do wonder if the BBC commercial was sanctioned before DG Britain could okay it. As you point out, read this wages list. It comes out in the same week as BBC Comms with its begging bowl. Just terrific. Absolutely, because he only started a few weeks ago. So all this stuff would have had to have been booked months ago. So they knew what was coming. I mean, there's a whole department that deals with the presentation of the annual report. So yes, and he's come in and they've said, this is where we're up to, this is what we're doing. If he wanted anything out of that, tough. So it'd be interesting to see next year how the annual report is presented differently, won't it? Or if it's dependent, you know, do you know what I mean? If it's different.
Well, if he's saving money, one good thing, it'll probably be shorter, which is a good thing.
Legion of James is saying, I met Fiona Bruce at the Antiques Roadshow when it came to Dundee. Don't judge me. Not at all. It's always a good day out. I've been to one myself. Where was that? Can't remember where it was. Never mind. A long time ago. She is so... Where was that? Was it Brighton? Could have been Brighton. I'm going to be worrying about that now. Who of you is? I won't sleep.
I wonder where in Dundee was it? Please tell us, Legion of James. I'm interested to know.
Oh, that's right. Dundee, where there's cocoa-based beverage. She is so far up her own arse. I'm surprised she hasn't disappeared yet. Oh, you say it how it is, James. Good on you. Simon Banks is joining us saying it would be great if BBC Studios had Doctor Who. Good. Keep that going. Good. Thank you for your input. Good. And make sure you vote. Yes, in our poll. The poll is there for you in the chat.
Can I ask a question just very briefly? I'm going to speak about it later, but if BBC Studios get to have Doctor Who, who's paying for it? BBC, or they're going to do it in conjunction with someone? How will that work? I don't know.
Well, from my understanding, depends on what happens with the tender. Remember, Who viewers, we have not had the tender process publicised. As I said on the show on Tuesday, and we'll look at it again today because it's in the slides today. The BBC have confirmed it won't be out till later this year. So they're not in any rush. And as I say, that's a good thing.
But the thing about it is, excuse my cynicism here, but I get the impression, you know, when you, like I said before, you advertise a job internally, you've got to advertise it just to make sure everyone can see it's been advertised, and then they've already employed someone to do it. You know, I reckon that's what's going to happen. I mean, maybe
that's the question. Yeah. That's what we're going to be looking at. That's the big question. Yeah, have BBC Studios already got this in the bag? Because part of me is thinking, as you will see as we go through the show, that they may have it in the bag already. great chats here. Evan Hartnell's Ghost, how are you, mate? One, I think BBC should make Doctor Who, but with a strong script editor. They also need a producer.
Yes, they do.
A proper. Let's forget all this showrunner crap, as I keep saying on the show. But they've got to go back to the old-fashioned way of doing it. And PTA's with us. Thank you for your super chat. You can't get mental health treatments now without answering DEI questions about sexuality, and all of the ombudsman services are the same, diabolical and need stopping. You're absolutely right. Yes, I had experience with this, of course, going into hospital. And they started asking me these questions, and I says, cut the crap. You can see what I am. I don't do all this. So I might have been ill, but I wasn't that ill. Do you know what I mean? I said, no. And they just laughed at me. They just, not having any of that. Say,
they were probably thinking exactly the same bloody thing, poor sods. Really, to be
Oi, Virtual Baz. Did you meet Arthur Negus? I'm not that old. I mean, no, because I was a little boy when he was on. You cheeky little boy. You're getting put in the corner if you carry on, Virtual Baz, I tell you.
I have to say, you've been varnished. You look beautiful, I have to say. Yeah.
Do you remember Arthur Negus?
He's come up a treat, hasn't he?
He has, yeah.
Right, so let's carry on. Yes, where are we up to? Forgotten. You've thrown me. Oh, yeah, so that's that bit there from the Telegraph. Okay, so 500,000. A terrible year when it comes to not being able to retain the customer.
Yeah.
The people that are supposed to pay for this. Now, this could be a number of things. Obviously, a lot of it is going to be, I can't stand the BBC anymore. I don't like what they're giving me. I don't like what they're preaching. I don't like their news reporting. Cancel the license. But also there's going to be that element of people who have come into the country that don't realize that they have to pay for a television license because nobody ever tells them. And they just get the tellies probably for nothing. And that's it, don't they? Do you know what I mean? And off they go. Yeah. So that's going to contribute as well, I think, into this.
Well, they'll be used to watching the BBC abroad for free anyway with a VPN, won't they?
Well, that's the thing. We've spoken about this a lot, isn't it? And we're not judging anybody from outside the UK that wants to do that. But I just wish the BBC would understand this and actually start charging for services out with the UK, because that's going to bring in, if they, I've said it before, if they do the right subscription and it's fairly cheap, that's going to bring in a lot of money.
Yeah.
I reckon. And I don't understand why these people in the business haven't.
At the very least, it could fund BBC Persian and BBC Arabic and BBC all the other stuff that isn't for this country that actually pays for it.
Yeah,
exactly.
But, so we don't have to.
There's lots going on with this. Look at this, everybody, as well. This has come from the BBC Media Centre themselves. A year of delivery, but pressure on the licence fee continues. The annual report, 25 to 26, highlights the BBC's continued role serving audiences across the UK, as we were just saying, and around the world, despite ongoing pressures on licence fee income, rising production costs, and rapidly changing media markets. The article continues. The BBC remains the UK's leading brand for media, gentlemen.
Allegedly.
reaching 94% of adults on average per month, according to its annual report and accounts. The report highlights the BBC's continued role serving audiences across the UK and around the world, despite the ongoing pressures on licence fee income, rising production costs, and the rapidly changing media market. Audiences spend more time with BBC TV and iPlayer than with all the big SVODs combined. Over 30 million on Ian. 30 million on average per week will tune into the BBC radio. The BBC is the only UK brand in the top 5 most used by young people, and the BBC ranks as the UK's media provider most trusted for fact-checked, accurate reporting and content. Now, on that point, I just want to say...
Fact-checking nonsense, that is.
Fact-checking. They've got a department. That wasn't... Allegedly, the department was supposed to fact-check, and it had to get investigated, didn't it?
Yeah, it's called Cooking the Books, I think it's called, yeah.
The main fact checker was found to have falsified her CV.
Oh, well,
yeah.
Is she now in government?
Yeah.
Now, can I just say before we get on to the next bit of this, I found it perversely quite funny this week, Who viewers. Did you see what happened with BBC Radio 1? They culled, media term, several of their presenters right? I don't call them DJs. Some of them might be, but the music presenters.
Yeah.
And there was an outrage from the young people that still listen to Radio 1. And it took me right back to 1985 or 1986 when they got rid of people like Bruno Brooks and Gary Davis and everybody like that. And that's what happens with Radio 1, isn't it? What happens with Radio 1 is you get to a certain point where you are of an age around about 30 and they'll get
reshuffled. Yeah.
Now, allegedly, one of the new guys that's coming in, this is alleged and I heard about it, so it might be wrong, is 19. And he's a big YouTube music presenter type thing. Allegedly. Everything alleged. Can't be bothered with all this.
That'll bring the Rolling Stone to about 1 million then. That's great, yeah.
But that's what they'll go for. Just like they with Gatwa with Doctor Who. Oh, he's got 60,000 million, billion, trillion followers on Instagram, none of whom came to show up to the show.
Yeah.
It's fickle. It's fickle. Now, I'm not saying if this thing I've heard is true that the kid isn't any good. Good luck to him. It'll start him on a career. He doesn't need it if he's already on YouTube.
Yeah.
But this will take him, and people will follow him if he's any good. So good luck to them. But it just made me laugh because it did take me back to the 80s when we were all like, "What? You can't do that." And there's the kids now today doing exactly the same as we did 40 years later when their presenters have been. You'll forget about them 2 weeks into the new lineup, kids. Honestly, because we did, because we are fickle as humans. We are fickle. You will forget. Let's get back into that article. Thank you, everybody. The report also outlines the challenges the organisation is facing. The BBC will not be able to sustain its public service mission in the future without reform, surprised I can say that word, of its funding model. While 94% of adults use BBC services per month, fewer than 80% of households pay the licence fee. Last month, the BBC announced plans for savings across news, nations and content divisions that will deliver around 160 million of 500 million in savings needed by 28 to 29. That's a lot of money, everybody. BBC Chair Samir Shah says this report sets out in detail the considerable pressures now faced by the BBC, not least the question of future funding. When 94% of adults use the BBC per month, yet fewer than 80% of households contribute, it tells you the current funding model cannot maintain the BBC's public service mission. The new charter, there it is, everyone. The new charter must ensure that the BBC can continue to be a universal public service media organisation of scale. We have to remember that the BBC is, and always has been, so much more than simply a broadcaster. It is a fundamental public good. It delivers unique benefits to audiences and to the whole of the UK, for our society, our economy, and our democracy.
Liar.
Matt Britton says this is a moment of real jeopardy, not just for the BBC, but for the public service broadcasting and the UK as a whole. I believe the case for the BBC has never been stronger. A public service, economic impact, UK sovereignty, and values. Our mission has never been more needed. So reinventing the BBC to fulfill that mission in a fast-changing world is our duty and our challenge. That work is now underway.
I thought the concept of UK sovereignty was a dirty word to the BBC.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's all bullshit, though, isn't it? Where do they get that 94% from? Because I don't believe that for a second. I really don't. I do not believe that almost every single adult in the country searches out BBC content every month. I don't believe it at all.
I don't know where they get this from. Maybe as we go through these slides, it tells more. Nothing comes to mind about if it does or not. But I mean, they see how much the license fee has gone down because they know how much money isn't coming in.
Yeah.
Is the rest just assumption?
Yeah.
We're asking you as part of our poll this evening, is the BBC still the right home for Doctor Who? It's 1 in the chat for yes, 2 in the chat for no. I can tell you at the moment that 23% of you say yes, thank you very much for your honesty. And also thank you for your honesty, as 77% of you so far say no. We've got we've got 215 people in the chat or watching us at the moment. If you are wanting to vote, pop into the chat and do that. Everybody's a lovely bunch. 1 for yes, 2 for no, unless you're Radio Free Scaro, and then you can get off it because we don't want to know about you. We'll keep that going. It's still open. 1 for yes, 2 for no. Problem being is saying to us, I do not want Pete fatigue. Pete fatigue. There's a lot of fatigue there, isn't it, really? you know, good for that. Okay, so let's carry on with this. And we'll come and see you in the chat now, because this actually continues from the BBC Media Centre. Delivering value for all. Now, this are highlights, everybody. These are highlights from what is in the annual report, the BBC annual report, okay? The BBC continues to be a vital national asset, delivering on its public service mission. In 2025-26, the BBC was the only UK brand in the top 5 most used media services by young people and contributed 6.7 billion to the UK economy, remained the world's most trusted provider of international news, and reached a global weekly audience of 500 million. A global weekly audience of 500 million. So how many of them are paying the license fee? Exactly.
Yeah.
A BBC for the future, guys. The report shows the BBC has already made over 1.5 billion of savings during the current charter period. The public service headcount continued to reduce, with a net reduction of 400 equivalent full-time roles by March 2026. Since 2019 and 2020, the BBC's headcount has fallen by over 10%, a reduction of over 2,200 roles. Audiences continue to respond well to the BBC's digital transformation. In the average week in 25 and 26, a record 35 million of the 45 million adults that came to the BBC used its online services. Financial and commercial, there are 23.3 million TV licenses in force, a fall of 539,000 year on year. This generated an income of 3.9 billion. This is an increase of 36 million year on year, largely driven by the license fee uplift. So basically, as we can all tell there, people have stopped, so the people that will continue have to pay more.
Yeah.
BBC Commercial reported revenue of 2.2 billion, with underlying sales growth in some revenue streams offsetting decline in others. It returned 377 million pounds to the BBC, keeping the businesses on track to meet its 5-year target of 1.5 billion in returns to the public service. And this one, strengthening trust. While the BBC remains most used for news in the UK, trust in news providers, including the BBC, is under pressure. Perceptions for impartiality and accuracy. I love the word perceptions, don't you? Perceptions for impartiality and accuracy have decreased, reflected the impact of high-profile editorial issues during 25 and 26. The BBC has taken steps to strengthen editorial leadership, including the appointment of Rodri Talfan-Davis as Deputy Director General, with responsibility for safeguarding trust and shaping the editorial strategy. So from those first 4 elements of the annual report, what are your initial reactions?
Well, they like to stretch the truth, don't they? Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, they like to exaggerate what they're doing well, which they're not doing well. They're just stretching the truth, aren't they? Or lying, allegedly.
It's all crap. It's all crap. They're making up the numbers, and then they're producing the argument based around the numbers that they've just made up. And that perceptions of impartiality, that sounds a little bit like our long lost Queen when she said recollections may differ.
Yes.
It's only she had class and they have none.
Yeah, well, totally. I don't like the fact that, again, it's that element of snobbishness and resistance to looking at the truth. Oh, the perception. It's not the reality. Perception doesn't mean that, does it? It doesn't mean the truth about this is that people don't like us. You know, it's the perception. Yeah. And then they go on to say that that's changed and people have suddenly gone back on board. What? Since when? You've been you've been losing popularity since the Scottish independent referendum.
It's not changed, it's just got worse, isn't it?
It has. Yeah. And how's it going to get? I mean, honestly, Paul, if the perception had changed that much, why hasn't the license fee increased? I mean, why haven't the license fee payers increased?
Exactly. There's no logic to the argument at all. They have no idea what they're talking about.
No, not at all.
That's a surprise. Yeah.
Kev Taylor saying to us, I used to be supportive of the BBC and would tune into the news on Radio 4, but I gave up when the old guard left. Now I would not miss the BBC. That's a good point. Hidden History in the Holy, bringing Doctor Who this quickly will backfire. The not-we's will still not tune in. That's what we say on this channel all the time, isn't it, Hidden History? You're absolutely right. Richard Brooks, no production company will want to take on Doctor Who without a period of pre-production, which will take several years if they know what's good for them. BBC Studios will produce Doctor Who much more quickly. I am concerned. You and me both, Richard. We're on the same page. You know where we're getting to in this show. Stephen Braddock is saying 500,000 spent on those 10 drongos, and didn't they lose over 500,000 license fee payers this year, as we're saying here? Yeah, there's Steve Braddock, all here for you. Why spend all that money, says PB, on trying to tell us how good the BBC is? Why not just actually be good, and then you won't need to try to win us back, BBC? It's really not that difficult. Good point.
They didn't have to do it in the 70s, did they? Or the 80s?
They just made proper television, that was the thing.
Yeah, yes. I mean, we talk about it often, but you go back to the BBC on a Saturday night in the 1970s, nothing could touch them. Nothing could touch them. For that entire decade, they were untouchable. And they didn't have to produce crappy adverts like that to tell you to do it or to tell you how fantastic it was.
Yeah, because everybody loved it anyway. And we just took the license fee, from what I can tell from the adults that were around me at the time. You just took it as, that has to be paid because we liked the BBC. And it was doing what it could to sustain it. Everybody was involved. But they had that responsibility, the BBC back then, to their license fee payers. That seems to have gone over the last 10, 15 years, And we know how the BBC looks at the great British public now as well. Tall Paul, good to see you. It's my understanding BBC Studios is a separate commercial arm of the BBC. So it's like taking money from one pocket and putting it into another. Yeah, how it would work is the BBC can commission a show. Let's talk about Doctor Who. The BBC can commission Doctor Who, and it will contribute some of the license fee money into that. Not much, but some, right? BBC Studios have been doing that as well. They've been contributing some finance into it. When you got Bad Wolf and Disney involved, Bad Wolf put some finance into it, allegedly. Disney put the bulk of the money into it. So it's a partnership. Now, that's what they're looking at doing again with the tender. But BBC Studios, as we'll come to very shortly, is now saying, we want it. So that would mean that they control it all. BBC Television puts some money into it, but BBC Studios puts the majority of it in.
Yeah.
So that's what we're coming to. You, Robert Payne, the BBC really could make efficiencies and drop the license to £90 maximum. The problem with the £90 as well is that would see them out very, very quickly. That's not going to sustain any of them at all, is it? Because that's going to bring down the money, Robert, as you know, so quickly. That's why they've had to increase it, as I say, because too many people have cancelled their license fee, aren't contributing. Yeah. And as I say, those that have got the license fee have to pay more because they're missing the gap. They're filling in the gap.
Yeah.
Lee Smith is saying delivery of slop. Slop. I like that word. Slop. Slop, 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 slop. Good word. Farsight. Studios are going to get it. I fear Pete McTighe, however you want to say it, is showrunner. I don't believe the BBC have learned any lessons at all. We're coming to that. We are coming to that, honestly. Lots more of that sort of stuff, everybody. Funky is saying BBC Studios will get the money from collection box set sales plus other original running merchandise. Box set sales? What are you talking about? What? Oh, yeah, I remember them. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. What else? Rocking Terry Lee. I use a VPN only because the BBC don't have a subscription service as good as the iPlayer. If the iPlayer was a subscription service and I didn't need the VPN, I'd ditch the VPN and subscribe. I think RTL, millions of people around the world would do that because the BBC has 100 years worth of fabulous radio and TV shows to put on the iPlayer.
Yeah.
And people like yourself would love those. I mean, RTL, he lives in the States, but he's British. A lot of the stuff we grew up with as kids. Can you imagine if they had a Blue Peter channel going back to the original one with Chris Chase and Layla Williams?
Yeah.
All of which they have. Every single edition of Blue Peter is in, thanks to Biddy Baxter, is preserved. Can you imagine? That, things like that, huge. They would be all
they'd have to put a disclaimer before each program, though, wouldn't they? So
yes, sticky back plastic.
No Angela Hutton the making of this program, allegedly. That's
exactly. Yeah. Julie Dunn wants to know, why the hell did they film it in Wales? It's like when Power Rangers was filmed in New Zealand. Just because when the show came back, the BBC said to Julie Gardner, who was in charge of it at the time, and then, of course, they got RTD involved with it in 2003, and they both are Welsh. So they both said BBC Wales. It was nepotism, basically. That's it. Yeah. And then it went on to create a huge wealth for the Welsh economy.
I think, to be fair, it doesn't really matter where it's made as long as it serves the story, to be honest. But it did become a bit silly when they started using the same locations again and again and again.
Yeah.
That's when it gets problematic, I think. You can, oh, that was in last week's episode, kind of thing.
Yeah. Fan 01ish, nice to see you. Well, they can't complain. If it's the BBC for all, then they can't very well exclude all these people who don't pay the license fee, can they? This is the thing. BBC for all, that seems to be one of their new modern taglines. How are they going to get us all back? It's like Doctor Who. How are you going to get everybody back? Big questions to ask. And Rory is saying 93 JT with Matthew Bannister. What was? I've forgotten something from this very show. Isn't that ridiculous? Thank you, Rory, though, I'm going to say. I'll rewatch the show.
Hey, I'll drop you a message.
All right, so let's carry on because we're not finished. So that's the first 4 bit. Here's some other bits for you from BBC Media Centre again. Culture and workplace. You're going to like this. The BBC has made a significant commitment to improve its culture, processes and standards in recent years. Formal bullying and harassment cases have increased, a trend expected following the publication of the Culture Review and the rollout of the Call It Out campaign. The average time to close a case has reduced by a third from 119 days last year to 75 days. Now, at that point, can I just say, right, so this whole, the Call It Out campaign, can you imagine how many pronoun users were offended by something and then called it? And that's why they...
All of them.
Yeah, let's hope they've got those alleged activists out of the BBC, because that's going to drive that down. Because
they won't have done that, will they? And they'll have got that time of processing a case down by employing more people. So that's more license fee money. And when they talk about all those people that were made redundant and everything else, they're not factoring in the amount of money they would have paid on redundancy costs either.
Yeah,
that's it. Got to be careful. Right, I worked for something. And they had this, and they were shocked when they found that they had a sudden overnight increase in complaints about this. And I read a report which detailed some of those complaints, and I would have just turned around in that very well paid position and said, get a bloody grip. Do you know? Oh, somebody called me this and somebody called me that and did this, and that. It was like children. It was like this
in the playground. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And it was pointing out the most juvenile. Get a bloody grip, honestly. Oh, somebody rolled their eyes. Honest to God, that was one of them. Somebody rolled their eyes at me. So I went. Honestly, I've got no time for that nonsense. Absolute nonsense. That goes down on these reports because it's being reported as a offence. It would be an HR today, I tell you. Load of nonsense. Here we go. Across the UK, the Across the UK programme. Yes, there is a programme within the BBC called Across the UK. Remains on track to exceed its target to spend an extra £700 million outside of London. Who do they think they are? The new Prime Minister. In the current charter period, with 400 roles now relocated outside of London. And then this one, Ian, you're really going to like. Pursue truth with no agenda. BBC News is the most used news source in the UK, reaching 72% of adults on average per week in 25-26, well ahead of the next nearest provider, which they don't mention. Globally, the BBC is ranked #1 for trust, reliability and independence amongst international news providers.
Allegedly.
Yeah, sorry, cough.
It is the #1 most followed English language news publisher on YouTube, with 19.7 million subscribers. Oh, they're nearly catching up with us. And and this year, the Local Democracy Reporting Scheme, I'll say that again, the Local Democracy Reporting Scheme reached the milestone of delivering 500,000 stories since it launched.
Most used news source. In what way? Because I'll tell you now, I use the BBC News website, but I use it for a particular reason. I use it, one, to see if a story is being reported that I've generally seen first on something like X. And then when they are reporting it, if X, say, has got video of the event and the BBC, like that horrific incident in Ireland with that poor chap, it was about 3 days before the BBC reported that. And it was very interesting because X showed video of it literally within 15 minutes of it happening. So you saw raw what was going on. Yeah. And then it was interesting to see how the BBC reported it, which was
their interpretation of it, which
was entirely different to what you actually saw happen. And So I use the BBC for that. I don't use it to get a source of news because I just do not trust it at all.
No,
I just don't.
I've become more aware since the launch of the alternative news channels, the unapproved ones, the ones that the BBC tried to close down allegedly. I'm talking, of course, about GB News, where allegedly people in the industry tried to close GB News down a year before it even started broadcasting because they labelled it straight away far right. So what they were trying to do there was scare people from actually looking at it because, oh no, you can't look at that because it's naughty, it's evil, it's bad, isn't it? It's far right, that's bad, that's naughty. And that hasn't worked because the great British public can make up its own mind. And yet when these alternatives do news, I'll ask you guys, or I'll ask other people, my mum or whoever, family, whatever, I will say to them, do you know about this story because you're watching the BBC? And they'll go, no. And there are important, big national scandal, usually, stories, things that people need to know about. And I think the BBC News guys is questionable for not discussing the things that need to be discussed. I would trust them more if they were doing these big stories about certain reports we've had published that the government were trying to hide from for 10 years. Successive governments, by the way, about a certain awful incident from a young man that was arrested when he should have been given medical treatment. You know, I'm trying to be obviously very subtle and respectful, and that's unusual for me with my big gob. But you know, it's you know, these sorts of things, they hit the alternative channels hard, fast. There's your news. That's how it is. And then they all go off and have discussions. BBC, oh, should we delve in there? Oh, we might get called ist if we do this.
Or how can we twist it allegedly to suit our agenda? Basically.
Do they do that as well?
Yeah.
See, they shouldn't do that. I mean, that's certainly what they did with the referendums, isn't it?
Oh, God,
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they were terrible. I've told those stories before. They were bloody awful. But yes, great to see you all in the chat, by the way. Thank you. Farsight is reminding us that they didn't deliver on Doctor Who. No, they didn't.
No.
Rory Neal, and I got you. Yes, of course, it was Matthew Bannister for the Radio 1 thing. Thank you, Rory. Value in renting studios as it no longer owns any building it's in. Have you seen how much they pay for Salford? Glasgow?
Well, that's the thing again. Yeah, it's like the government building a hospital, then renting it out and paying it back, and isn't it? It's just crazy. Why don't they have their own premises? They had it for years. What a waste of money. Really
all because of this bloody infatuation that certain people within the BBC said, oh, we can't be London centric.
But they clearly still are. That's the thing.
Oh, well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, when they moved to Salford, and I was there, I watched Salford because I lived in Manchesterford at the time, and I watched it being built because I would go down, because I literally lived at the top of the road in Salford Quays, and I would go down for my evening stroll, especially at this time of year, you know, and I got to meet the security guards. I got to know them quite well, and I said, oh, can we go and have a look? And they go, oh yeah, go on. So I'd have a walk around, and it was a case of like, I'd walk around this and see this being built. And then when they opened it, gentlemen, there were some jobs that were advertised, but not all, because they were all commuting from London.
Yeah.
So they were coming to stay in my area or nearby Sunday to Thursday, and then they'd go home on the Friday.
And how is that a non-London centric attitude, isn't it? You want people who live in Manchester or Salford, whatever, having that kind of attitude and that perspective. If you're coming from London, you don't have that at all. So what's the point of moving? You know, it's just stupid.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. Dystopian Nightmare saying the Beeb strengthening trusts. Stuart Barnum saying, I think the BBC should use Verify on itself.
It would fail.
Yeah. Hello, Clive Simpson. How are you, fella? More wonderful words, Salah, from the BBC. They can't say it like it is. I think they're terrified of saying it like it is, my friend.
If they had the Verify, I believe that end of episode of into the last episode of Anthony Chow, when they goes like that to danger on the monorail like that, you know, incredible. Yeah,
that's a good analogy. That Marine Boy, hello, pal, how are you? You don't hand an arsonist a fresh box of matches after trying to burn a house down and say, "Go on, give it another go."
Yeah, go on, another go.
The BBC tends to do it all the time.
Yeah.
And we've also got Quast One here saying they are remaking Red Dwarf as well. It's ridiculous.
God, no.
Yeah. Lee
I'll
Smith,
tell you something about
the
BBC.
Blake 7 reboot on BBC One. The BBC have nothing to do with the alleged reboot of Blake 7, which currently, of course, is trying to find the cash. Now they've got to compete with Doctor Who. Got in.
So there's something about the BBC, right? You know, we mentioned last week at the start of the show, didn't we, the tragic episode that had happened with Anne Widdecombe.
Yes.
Yeah.
And obviously through the week, not going to say anything controversial, but through the week, there's been more and more questions about
who
it was and what it was. It was this person and it wasn't this person, and it was that person who managed to drive far quicker than it's physically possible to drive. But anyway, all of that. But when the questions were starting to get a little uncomfortable for a certain area of government, like all of it, did you notice how quickly there suddenly was a news article about 13 men have been arrested because of a far-right plot?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Put in focus, yeah.
It was about some event being held, and that, believe it or not, is banned in Saudi Arabia for being too militant. But there we are. Let's have it here. Now, there's nothing on the BBC website yet, just checked, nothing on the BBC website yet to say all 13 have been released without charge and there was nothing to find.
Right.
Now, Starmer and Mahmood came out and said lives have definitely been saved as a result of these arrests. And they've all been released without charge, which means there was nothing. It's just interesting how this story blew up when certain questions about something else were becoming awkward. And the BBC ran with it big. It was front news on its website and everything else. But as it was everybody released, nothing, no charges, nothing to see, was yesterday. X and everywhere else, BBC, still nothing there. Be interesting to see if they carry it at all. That's how honest and transparent they are.
That's exactly it. And that's not mentioned in the annual report at all, because there are certain stories that I think they will just go, oh, we can't possibly do that because that's not going to be diverse or inclusive. That's not showing the tolerance that we've got to have. And that might bring back complaints of people being ist or phobe or whatever. That I think that's still the crux here. I think that's a big problem for the BBC. They've got to get over that, because the news is going to be all those things, because you're reporting the modern day news, and some people won't like it. Probably all live in Brighton. Mark Greaves is saying to us for a super chat, I was bullied and beaten often as a kid, but I didn't complain. It taught me to stand up for people now who can't stand for themselves. JT spot on. Well, God bless you for that. I mean, I was bullied in my adult, coming out as gay in the 80s. Wasn't the easiest thing to do in the early 90s, but you had to get on with it because that's what you were doing, and so I think at some point we've all been down that road. I think it's one thing that we all share, because the human race, we're actually quite nasty to each other when we want to be.
Yeah.
Connor's in the chat with us. Hello, Connor Sullivan. Hi, JT. Have you seen Doctor Who's Instagram socials lately? Oh, yes. They're still pushing for this Joe Martin fugitive doctor. Yeah. It's insane. It's wasting time with this so-called doctor making her own Sonic, etc. Please make it stop. Connor, if we could, we would, because it is nonsense, isn't it, gentlemen?
Well, I just hope if the BBC studios do it, and Pete McTee, whatever his name is, decide to go down that route, we may as well not bother. If you're going to make Joe Martin the next Doctor, let's not bother.
It'll be dead for good.
Oh, yeah.
This is one of the things we're going to be talking about in just a few minutes here on the channel, because we're going to get into the whole thing about the BBC and Doctor Who. So thank you, Connor. Yeah. Julianne is saying GB News is the most watched news channel in the country. Stuff that up your Shatner's bassoon, anti-Beeb. They don't like it, though, do they? They don't like all that. GB News says Sheila B in the Devotions. Farage is on it. Well, he's not really. He's not. He has a show on it. But I have to say, Sheila B, I've listened to some of his shows and found myself agreeing with some of it and found myself disagreeing with some of what he says. Now, that is what's supposed to happen. And if you don't give these people the time of day and listen to them, you can't judge them, I find, Sheila B. You've got to listen to what they say, and then you've got to form an opinion. That's the way I look at it.
Bizarre university debating society to decide what you want to debate on, and they'll choose something they like rather than have something maybe controversial to have two opinions and discuss it. They choose what they want to choose. It's just stupid.
Can they?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of you in the chat with us. Keep your comments coming. Don't forget the poll is still there for you. Problem being is then keep pushing the fake doctor all you like, BBC. You're just going to keep damaging the brand.
Yeah.
That's great, because that's going to lead us into this conversation we're getting to in a second. But we've had a look at some of the annual report there, gentlemen. I think we know where the BBC is coming from, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Oh
yeah. So before we get into the BBC and, of course, what they've been saying about Doctor Who this week, let's have some good news, shall we? Shall we have a quick breather?
Yes,
Go for it.
Very quick. Let's do it, shall we? Let's have some good news. Hurrah, everybody. Look, everybody, it's Sophie Aldred, who was revealed or announced this week as being one of the guests at Visitations Blackpool, strangely in Blackpool, on Saturday, the 15th of May, 2027. And don't forget, everybody, we're going to be there. Yes, we're off on an away mission.
Fantastic, lovely. Yeah.
We are off on an away mission. Oh, what's that? That there is where you can get the tickets. That there. Look at that. Yeah, don't like the color, but there we go. That is where you can get your tickets. They're on sale now for Visitations Blackpool on Saturday, May the 15th. And of course, Sophie Aldred is going to be one of the guests there. At the moment, we also know that, of course, that she's going to be joining Film is Fabulous, who have a panel there as well. So somebody actually got in touch with me through the week, guys, and said, "Well, what is this about? What's it going to be about? How's it going to be? How's it going to look? How's it set up? You know, Visitations Blackpool. It's quite easy. It's a traditional, good old-fashioned Doctor Who convention. It's only about Doctor Who. Panels with the stars and the guests, like Film is Fabulous. And Sophie, who has a new book coming out, by the way, next year. So lots of talk about that. But there'll be panels there, chatting to them, question and answers from everybody in the audience. So if you've got questions to ask the guests, you'll get a chance to ask them. And then, of course, it goes on to the now usual traditional meet and greets. So you can go and see them and you can get things signed. You get your photos done with them. It's going to be a great day. I'm really excited. And it's nice to know that Sophie's going to be there as well.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah,
looking forward to that, to be quite honest. I will completely name drop. We stayed in the same hotel at the Liverpool convention in October, and we shared a car to the event as well. She's lovely. Nice to see her again, you know, mates.
Yeah. Did you not share a bedroom on occasion?
Steady. Steady.
I did have Wendy Padbury's room. She was not in
it. I knew it was somewhere like that. Yeah, you Wendy Padbury. Yeah.
She'd broken her arm. Make it.
See that thing there? If anybody's actually using that thing there now, can you let me know if it works in the chat? This QR code thingy. Have a go at it with your phones or whatever you do, and let me know it works. But there it is there. That is the place to get the tickets. The tickets are on sale now, and it is going to be on Saturday, May the 15th. Of course it is. And we're going to be there. We will be broadcasting through the day, which is very exciting. So come and join us. We're going to have a laugh, everybody. We will have a laugh. It's going to be good stuff. And it'll be great to see you all. And
it works.
Oh, fabulous. There it is. And of course, hopefully you'll get on the show, because we're going to be broadcasting throughout the day. Hurrah, I say. Hurrah.
And huzzah.
There we go, then.
Well. Yes.
A plug for Visitations Blackpool next May. Come and join us. It's the nearest you're going to get to a Who's Views convention, I can assure you. I know a lot of you have already. Stephen Braddock got in touch with me in the week, actually, guys, to say I've got my ticket, which was great news.
Brilliant.
Let's have a look in the chat before we go back to this. Oh, thank you, Legion of James. He's also put the link in there as well. Digby Strawbridge is going ace, huzzah! Clive Simpson is saying fabulous. Legion of James has also put the details from the Facebook page, the Visitations Facebook page, for the rooms at the Grand Hotel. They're offering packages there, so you can go and check those all out. All right, what else? Rick Storm said that he only saw Sophie about a month ago. Yeah, she's very popular. Yeah. Philip Tassini saying, I'll be there with my son. Oh, fantastic. That's great. Yeah. That's really nice. Oh, look forward to that. Yeah, that's good. Raymond Williams saying, I've booked my accommodation this week. My kids, 16 and 18, are coming with me as I'm paying. Will RTD be there, says Lee Smith. Oh, I don't think so. I think he's probably busy washing his hair or writing something, really, don't you? And Margie 75, Ace with the boys of Whose Views and Film is fabulous. Ace. Oh, yeah. And we'll all have a laugh, I think, with Sophie, won't we? All of us.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah. Julianne is saying, it's shaping up nicely. I can't wait. And Funky is saying, Blackpool. I think I've heard of it. Don't people who can't get to Paris go there to reenact scenes from City of Death? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And that's exactly what you can all do when you're there. You can get to the top of the tower and you can do all the usual, bouquet. What else we got here about this as well? Oh, Robert Payne is saying the QR code probably needs to be bigger. I don't have a smartphone, so it doesn't matter. Can't get any bigger because that's how it was. That's how it comes with this. So there we go. And a problem being is saying yes. Please may Dame JT book RTD. No. And Legion of Giants, as you all know, I'm booked and I'm ready to go. I'm very excited. Yeah, good for you.
The only way I want RTD to be booked is to be sent off. That's the best way to rid of him. Yeah.
Steve Braddock, you'll be pleased to catch up with Sophie then there. And Terry Leptil is saying Ian and Sophie sitting in a tree.
Just the wrong time to have a drink there, didn't I?
Yeah. All right, so that's great there. So yeah, Sophie Aldred is the latest guest to be announced for Visitations Blackpool. We're all very excited, and as I say, we're going to be broadcasting throughout the day there. So come and join us. Tickets are on sale now, and yes, we are going to be talking about it right through until May. You're going to get fed up with it. No, you won't, Ruben. It's going to be great. Let's have a look at this then. We're moving on to this now, everybody, because this is from the Radio Times. Doctor Who will undergo creative renewal as BBC boss says broadcaster is working hard on revival. Now, if you saw my little live show when this news dropped on Tuesday, you'll know what this is about. But this is part of the big conversation tonight as we get into this. And I'm also very interested to see what Paul and Third Doctor Ian think about this. This is, as I say, from the Radio Times. The Director General, Matt Britton, has previously expressed his own personal love for the sci-fi series and has now promised that the BBC will regenerate the show once again. Speaking as the BBC published its annual report, Britton said, that's a show that has regenerated multiple times in its 60-plus year history and will do so again. I think that's one of the great things about the 100-year history of the BBC. We can do that and we can creatively renew shows that people love, and we'll be working hard on that right now. While no timeline has been given for the tender process surrounding Doctor Who or for the show's return, recent reports have suggested that it may not return to screens until 2028 at the earliest. Regardless, RTD, who has now departed as showrunner, has said that the process will secure the show's future for years, explaining no one's going to apply for tender for 1 year. You've got to lock in just to make it financially worthwhile, so I think this guarantees years of the programme. When the tender process was first confirmed, the BBC said in a statement that we are choosing to push forward to invest in the long-term future of the show, which ensures that when the TARDIS lands once more, it does so in all its glory. So the big question there is the BBC, not BBC Studios, but the BBC, according to Matt Britton, is working hard creatively when it comes to Doctor Who. What do you two make of what he said there?
Well, when I say Doctor Revival, I just think of that image in the TV movie with McCoy on the operating table with the heart resuscitation thing. It's like it's not going to work, is it? It needs to be cremated first, then brought back. That's the thing, you know.
Yeah,
because they've done so much damage to it. You know what I mean? So
I think it's just guff to keep it ticking over and stop people asking questions. I think that the interesting thing that it's been said already that BBC studios might already have it in the bag. I think the BBC could find themselves in a bit of hot water there if they tried that, because obviously when a tender goes out, when a competitive tender goes out, it has to be seen to follow certain process. And if somebody's got it already, then others that are tendering or that are applying for the tender can challenge it legally, and it all has to be shown in court potentially. And if they've already done a deal, that would come out, and it could be very awkward for them.
I think the trouble is, though, who else is interested? Probably no one.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we know people in the industry, don't we? And they've sort of told us that there's nobody there, and yet Stephen Moffat has come out saying, "Oh, there's loads of people fishing around it." Now, with this, what's gone on this week? We talked about that either last week or the week before with that Half the Picture interview that he did, Moffat, and he said, "Oh, there's lots of people interested, didn't he?" I still say they're spinning, and I still say they've got more spins than Wonder Woman, because I think they're desperately trying to say we didn't get this thing killed. It wasn't our contributions to the show that got it finally taken off the air. Well. There we go. But I agree with Richard Brooks here, who's saying that Matt Britton gave a standard answer. He is not a mega fan. There is no announcement of when the tender will be issued. BBC Studios have thrown their hat in, and I can't see anyone else trying. Now, I agree. This whole thing about Matt Britton being a mega Doctor Who fan came from a comment. And that comment was as he was joining the BBC. And I don't think, as I said on Tuesday, guys, I don't think Matt Britton could tell you the history of Davros or the Daleks. I don't think he could tell you which Doctor Tom Baker was. I don't think he could tell you who came before Tom Baker. You know, basic rudimentary things that we take for granted. You know, I mean, the imagery you gave there, Paul, of Sylvester McCoy on the operating table. We as fans know that means the TV movie from 1996. I don't think Matt Britton knows that. What I do think he knows is Doctor Who, important to the BBC, makes money.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
So Richard, I agree with you. I don't think he's a mega fan, and I do believe I mean, it's a very short answer, but he's going to have to get used to this, because everybody involved with the BBC in some sort of position of commissioning or DGing or manager, every one of them is going to be asked about Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Even if it's on the air. Oh, why are the ratings going down? Why are the ratings stellar? Why is the new Doctor not popular? Why is the new Doctor really popular? It's always going to happen. And it has done since Michael Grade.
Yeah.
Let's face it. Do you know what I mean? Every single one of them, even poor old Lorraine, you know, when she started at the BBC, she got it. Lorraine Hegarty, who was eventually responsible, let's not forget, for bringing the thing back. She got it sorted. So big up to her. Well done, you. But Robert Payne saying to us, how can the BBC creatively renew Doctor Who if they are tendering it out to different production companies?
I also wonder if there's a bit of when Disney stopped, whether there will be any rights issues, problems that they have with the TV movie in terms of when they move forward, if there's a time lag before they can develop anything. Could maybe have the option to be like longer, 4, 5, 6 seasons, whatever. So I wonder if that slows things up as well. You know what I mean?
I think all that has been sorted by the aforementioned Lorraine Hegarty after the 1996 TV fiasco.
Oh, really? Right. Okay.
I do, because if you've just looked, we had the whole thing.
Yeah.
What they're going to do now is exactly what they did with Bad Wolf and Disney. They're going to have the same thing, because I tell you what, cool and dry, Mark, we'll just do your chat here. Creative renewal is an oxymoron, like military intelligence, civil war, and airline food.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at the original release from the BBC, shall we? And let's look at this again together from the BBC Media Centre just a few weeks ago. Update on plans for the future of Doctor Who. Doctor Who remains an important part of the BBC. There it is there, the 10th of June. So in the wording here, as part of securing the next phase of the show for future generations and in line with the BBC's charter and agreement requirements, the BBC will put Doctor Who out to competitive tender this year. Doctor Who remains an important part of the BBC, and this tender underpins the BBC's continued commitment to Doctor Who, ensuring audiences will enjoy the show for years to come. Then it goes on to about the BBC and Bad Wolf and stuff, so we will gloss over all that. Details of the tender will be announced in due course. There's the bit here. The BBC retains all IP in Doctor Who. Right? So the BBC own Doctor Who. BBC Studios, however, will continue to lead the global distribution of Doctor Who, as well as licensing consumer products, digital and immersive experiences on behalf of the BBC. So there you have it. That was out there in that original thing from the 10th of June. The BBC have learnt, Paul, I reckon they've learnt from the original hiatus period. They've learned from what happened with the Fox Universal stuff, which did get fraught.
So they can learn and retain information then, and learn
especially
from it.
when it comes to something like how do
Money.
we keep the money?
Yeah.
So that's exactly what's gone on there. So they came up with a deal with Disney, didn't they, and Bad Wolf. But why I always say to your Who viewers right now is, with us knowing that side of it, the BBC get absolutely everything, including the plaudits. So what's in it for an independent production company?
Yeah.
I put it to you, my lord.
Studios.
I am pessimistic about who else is interested in it, to be fair, based on its current status. And I think it's an easy option for the BBC studios to go for it and produce it themselves and see if they can make a success of it, which I doubt. But if they can, then it hopefully will give another company a chance to maybe pick up later on when it's in a better position, you know?
Well, that is a brilliant segue into this. Again, from Tuesday, as reported by Deadline, BBC Studios boss confirms it will compete to become the next producer of Doctor Who. We are in it to win it. Okay, so this, of course, is the BBC Studios CEO, Tom Fussell. And what he said the other day, again at the annual report, was this. He said, or the article from Deadline says, BBC Studios will be bidding to become the next producer of Doctor Who with gusto, says Tom Fussell. Speaking to Deadline on the BBC annual report day, Fussell addressed the future of the BBC's biggest sci-fi hit, only sci-fi hit, by confirming the production arm will put its hat into the ring when the tender process kickstarts later this year. Okay, so they're under the impression, possibly because they've been told that the annual report, the tender process will go out later this year. Now we're currently in July, so we could be looking at October for the tender process to come out, September, October. That means a good year later, I reckon, gentlemen, as interviews and the process goes on with the various production companies, of course, the sifting process as well, because if they're lucky and they get 50 production companies, they're going to have to whittle that down one by one. You could be looking at a 2-year process just to decide who gets the tender if they do it properly and professionally. The BBC were dealing with it, everybody. It carries on. We've been the producer for 60 years and we want to be the producer for another 60 years. So we will be going for that tender with gusto, said Fussell. We are in it to win it. BBC Studios have produced Doctor Who for the majority of its run, but the most recent iteration was made by Sony-owned Bad Wolf for both the BBC and Disney+, before Disney+ exited and showrunner RTD shockingly announced he was stepping back. A planned Christmas special was axed, and the BBC has instead put Doctor Who out to tender, not quite yet, with the launch date likely at least a couple of years away. So there's a lot of us saying, you know, it's going to be more than a couple of years. It needs to be a couple of years, more than a couple of years. Fussell did not confirm which BBC studios. Now, this, everybody, again, look at this. This is important. Fussell did not confirm which BBC Studios label would apply to produce Doctor Who or whether multiple labels will compete. We've got the full breadth of our studio to look at that we will do the best for an absolute adored brand, he added. As the distributor and the commercial licensor, we understand those fan relationships, and can build on that. Doctor Who is something that people in this organization care passionately about. Okay, so I said this the other day, and I'm asking you guys now. So firstly, the BBC studios seem to think they understand the fan base, circuit breaker. And secondly, BBC studios have several businesses who could do Doctor Who as well. Thoughts?
Yeah, that worries me if they've got several businesses, because where are they coming from? Is it Pete McTeague's company, spin-off, whatever it's going to be? I don't know. So that's a bit of a worry. Who are these little companies within BBC Studios doing the potential show that we're going to get? Who's behind them? You know, that's a bit of a worry. Yeah.
It sounds very messy, doesn't it?
It is hugely messy. Yeah.
Yeah. It just, yeah. I think, you know, they've shown themselves to completely neglect this product to the point of almost killing it.
Almost.
Almost.
Well,
yeah, I was going to say that's optimistic.
You've been very kind.
I know. I know. I've said it before. earlier on this evening that it's like an abusive relationship. They have almost beaten it to death. And why would you leave it with them? You know, if it was an abused animal, you'd take it away.
Yeah.
If it was an abused adult, you'd call the police and have them rehomed somewhere else. But this, why would you leave Doctor Who with any element of the BBC? They're all tarred with the same brush. I don't think there's anything that...
Well, certainly should be tarred with the brush, certainly,
yeah, differentiates one from the other. I think they're all as bad as each other because they're all singing from the same song sheet at the end of the day. And we know what that song sheet is like. We know it's far left. We know it's woke. We know it's twisted. We know it plays to a minority audience, and that's the only audience it wants. And the audience that actually kept it alive is the one they told to F off to. So, no, if it's got the BBC label on it, you're not going to do much to get people coming back.
We're also dealing with an industry that is exactly what Ian's just said as well, haven't we? You know,
it's not changing, you know.
No, there doesn't seem to be any change in that at all at the moment, which is very concerning. You know, I've had conversations with people from the industry on the Stage Facebook pages and the social media accounts where I just say you're so out of touch with the British public, and then of course they just turn around and get aggressive, blah blah blah, and it's all the usual nonsense. Bravehearts 1.5, he's going to Blackpool next year to see us. He's coming from Edinburgh.
Yay!
That's brilliant. Oh wow, great. Don't forget, we're gonna have stickers.
No idea. It's a very obscure place. Yeah.
We're gonna have stickers for everybody, so you can put your YouTube handles on, so we all recognize each other and know who we are talking to. Digby is saying to us here, the BBC in its current form can only damage Doctor Who. To be honest, at this stage, they're really just desecrating a corpse. Andy 4 is saying to us, I viewed this as the BBC grifting, desperately trying to increase interest and investment. PB is saying no one wants it. There's a minority rather that does, as we can see from the circuit breaker stuff, but are they actually buying into the circuit breaker stuff? So let's keep that whole thing about him, Tom Fussell saying there, ladies and gentlemen, they know the Doctor Who fan base. I want to ask you about that in a second. What else we got here in the chat? Thank you very much, everybody. Keep them coming. Zach Whitten. I think there's different strands of BBC Studios, e.g. drama, light entertainment, etc. So maybe that's what they mean by which part of BBC Studios. We're going to come to that in a second.
Oh, be light entertainment then, surely, yeah.
Well, it does look like they've spawned off other companies under different names over the years. Dalek Shalom, they've neglected the culture, not just Doctor Who. Well, that's deep.
Yeah.
Well said, Ian from PB. There you go. Dystopian is saying, Doctor Who is a dead pirate. Why did the pirate planet just come to mind?
It's a dead polyphase Avatron.
Yes, exactly.
It used to be. Yes.
Tell me Matt Britton knows what that means. And Doctor Who Universe is saying, before that happens, though, they'll need to do the sensible thing and carry out some market research. As I imagine, they'll be chomping at the bit to get the show back on. Market research is something I would welcome, actually, for any new production company coming in. But as you're saying there, Doctor Who history universe, that's common sense.
But it depends on the demographic of the research, isn't it? If they go to the same people who they think watch it, then they're not getting much of a reaction that's going to be realistic, are they? If they go to general public, then maybe. But yeah.
Exactly. It's a good point. Stephen O'Neill is actually saying to us here, the BBC own the production companies Lookout Point and Tiny Riot. Yes, they do. I found those two as well. So thanks for that, Stephen. We're going to be looking at that. Could it be them? Could it be any other interests they've got? Do they have the partners? If the BBC was as good, says Cool and Dry, at making Doctor Who as it is talking about Doctor Who, it'd be the biggest show ever made. Good point.
Yeah.
Legion of James. I don't think there's anyone out there that could take Doctor Who on just now. There's too much to fix, and I can't see anyone being able to return it to what it once was properly. That's my fear as well. Anne-Marie UK, thank you for your super chat. How are you, darling? Hope you are well. Is the BBC really going to tax us on Prime and Netflix, and how is that legal? Great question, because that's the other thing that is coming up here as well. It is being mooted. If you have Amazon Prime or Netflix, that's the main one that's been looked at now and discussed and mentioned in all the articles, then you may have to have the TV license to access them. Now, Amazon and Netflix allegedly are not too happy with that. So there's going to be a massive... However, tomorrow here in the UK, we do get a brand new Prime Minister. Andy Burnham takes the front door.
Wonder how long for?
Yeah.
The unelected.
Yeah.
And he is very busy amending, shall we say, to be polite, various Labour policies that his predecessor has overseen over the last few weeks. So let's see what he's going to be doing when he appoints the new, if there is a new, Culture Secretary. Let's see what they come up with, because the word is Lisa Nandy's out, guys. So let's see if that's true.
That's not going to be.
I liked her. She was one of the best.
Bad day, is it, if she gets out of her job? I mean, honestly, it's just some waffling salad dodger. I can't stand the woman. No. I really can't.
Woodhouse 122. If McTeague McTyke, however you want to say it, gets to be showrunner, it'll be the same rubbish as the past decade. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. There won't be any difference at all. Philip Tassini is saying, I'm sorry, I think Doctor Who is over. RIP, just be happy we have what we have pre-Capaldi. I hate saying that, but I think there is nothing they can do to bring it back. But they're going to have a damn good try. Although I do tend to agree with you, Phil. And Funky is saying it's on the table, shall we say. Farsight is saying if they knew the fans, they wouldn't tamper with Classic Who.
Yeah.
And Connor coming back saying, I really don't care about Doctor Who not being British anymore. Just make it good sci-fi. Doctor Who needs to be sold and moved away from the BBC. Personally, Connor, I'd say it still needs to stay British, and the BBC won't allow that. Even if they do go, like they did with Disney, like they did with Fox, they will have to have an involvement. It's their show, as we've just shown. Doctor Who is a BBC television show. BBC Studios are involved with that, and then anybody else. They're looking for a third, maybe fourth production partner in this.
I was going to say that back in 1987, fans hated season 24. Majority did, and then season 25 came along a year later, and it was brilliant. So it's not beyond the realms of possibility they could make it good, potentially based on that as an analogy. But I don't think the series was as bad then in 87 as it is now. So maybe it won't. You know.
Yeah. Well, as we've said often before, Paul, it's interesting that in 1989 the fans wanted it, and the BBC didn't, and now here we are in 2026, and the fans don't want it. The majority of fans don't want it, and the BBC do.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, I started watching Time and the Rani with my head in my hands because I thought. Sylvester's gooning around and pratfalling and everything else and mispronouncing things was just awful. And I didn't like the intro. I didn't like the title sequence. Still don't really.
Oh, I still don't know.
Yeah. But I tell you, I would take that now over anything we've had in the last 10 years minimum.
Yeah.
Well, we've said, haven't we?
I personally love Time in the Rally, but that's just me.
We've actually said, haven't we? You can go back now, as we will be doing shortly here on the channel, and you can go and look at something from the late 80s, and it's recognisably Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And you appreciate it more because of what we've just been through.
Yeah, definitely.
Stephen O'Neill is saying, Third Doctor Ian, your mate Lisa Nandy and my local MP is tipped to become the Education Secretary tomorrow. Go, who's that?
There's an oxymoron again, So.
Anyway, let's have a look at this because we're gonna get on more now because this is we've shown him before, but here he is again, everybody. This is Tom Fussell, and as I've said, Tom Fussell is the BBC Studios C.
Is his surname a typo? Or is that definitely Fussell? Not
Fussell. F-U-S-S-E-L-L. Again, he's been reported this week, as we're saying here. This one is from Deadline, as we say here. Yes, Doctor Who, the producer of Doctor Who, we're in it to win it. So this is the big thing. Now, I started looking after Tuesday at more about what he might have said, and I found this. Now, this is going to delight the BBC, Paul, Third Doctor Who viewers. They love this sort of stuff because this has come from the Hollywood Reporter. This is the BBC's wet dream, isn't it? Oh, look, we're known in America. And partly the reason that they're known in America is Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Let's look
recent Doctor Who as well, which is unfortunate.
Oh, yeah. Oh, goodness me. This breaks down an awful lot of what he says. So I'm going to look at some slides, everybody, and I want your opinions, guys. I want your opinions in the chat. Okay, everybody. So let's get into this. From the article from Hollywood Reporter, how BBC Studio CEO thinks about mega mergers reshaping the media landscape. They mean we're going to have fewer customers, which is troubling, but it may lead to stronger customers, which is good news. says Tom Fussell in a wide-ranging interview. Yeah, I can't get my head around that anyway. Surely you want more customers and stronger customers. You know, oh God, did you
Does that mean stronger customers have to pay more? That's how it works, yeah. So,
yeah, what stronger customers even mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, well, let's get into it and see if you
work out.
It's another word salad again, yeah. So.
Yeah.
As we're going through this together, I might spot things that I didn't before when I was looking at it myself. But this is it here. Look at this. It's going to say here the head of the BBC commercial. Now look, the head of BBC commercial, Mr. Fussell. Yeah. The commercial arm. Of the commercial arm of the UK public broadcaster that mainly consists of BBC Studios, of which he serves as CEO, is Upbeat. So there you go. There's another one. BBC Commercial owns BBC Studios. After all, BBC Commercial, which is mostly driven by BBC Studios, just reported improved full fiscal year earnings and steady record revenue earlier on Tuesday, helped by the continued success of animated hit franchise Bluey and other factors.
Hooray!
After the financial update, Fussell talked to the Hollywood Reporter about key growth drivers and challenges, recent mega mergers such as Paramount's deal for Warner Brothers, Discovery, and the just unveiled acquisition of ITV's network and streaming assets by Comcast Sky. Among the other topics he addressed are the benefits that BBC Studios has seen from using the power of YouTube, the opportunities in vertical content, his take on the company's M&A opportunities, the ongoing success of Bluey in the up-and-coming Bluey movie, not what you think, and future of Doctor Who.
I wish it was, it's far more interesting.
The future of Doctor Who and the growth of streaming services BritBox International and the documentary-centric BBC Select, part of BBC Studios' direct-to-consumer unit. More companies there, everybody. The company acquired full control of BritBox International in 2024. Okay, so this is interesting, isn't it? So the more we get to know about them, the more we're actually seeing, because we also have to remember, it is in the annual report, they own the U channels.
Yeah.
Of course, where Bergerac, the remake of Bergerac from Toby Whithouse, was broadcast. Now that's now gone to BBC Two because it was a massive success, but it's a BBC-owned channel. So Toby Whithouse is the production company he's involved. Would he be interested? He'd be brilliant, Doctor Who. I think he'd be brilliant because he's not part of the brief.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's that for you. Let's get into the first one. In unveiling the annual results for the BBC commercial, your team highlighted growth in key revenue streams, but also declines elsewhere. Where is the business facing its key challenges and upside? Tom Fussell says, overall, it's stable revenue with significant growth over the 5 to 6 years since I've been doing this, and profits were up 17%. The growth has come from DTC, including BritBox in North America and BBC Select in North America. BritBox was growing by about 20%, the other by 60%. BBC Select now is the USA's third largest documentary streamer, and we're going to heavily invest in both of those businesses. The content studio has relatively flat revenue, but the margin has gone up significantly because of consumer products. Then you've got the sectors where the market is under pressure, areas that are subject to advertising issues or linear decline. Pay renewals in those legacy businesses will be going the other way. They're still high margin for us. They are still strategically important, but we're not immune from the market challenges. We're having to lean into operating cost savings. Interesting.
If they're acknowledging that BritBox is bringing in revenue, then that's the perfect argument in favour of putting iPlayer behind a paywall.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Now, if BritBox has done extremely well, of course, abroad as well. I mean, isn't there? And you guys out of the UK will be able to tell me, isn't BritBox full of a lot of BBC repeats?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So
that and ITVX, same kind of idea. Yeah.
So to actually introduce iPlayer as a streaming service for those outside the UK, I don't think it would be a challenge. I think it would be complementing to BritBox, because then you get the two sources of revenue, because you're giving people the freedom of choice of which one do you want, or do you want both?
Doesn't BBC Commercial do something sound like BBC Enterprises all over again? Really,
it does. Yeah.
Really, doesn't it?
Yeah. So obviously, I think we can assume, Paul, that when BBC Enterprise morphed into Worldwide started doing all these other bits as well. And now it's all commercial, with studios, the big part of it that we all know because we're Doctor Who fans.
Yeah.
Next point from the article. You mentioned the 1.5 billion target for returns to the BBC and how you'll exceed that. You have also set the goal of doubling the business of BBC Commercial over several years by 27 to 28. How's that looking? It's still our ambition. The mandate we have from our shareholders is to keep growing long term. So every now and then, what we have to do is reinvest and double again. What I tell our teams is that once we get access to capital, which will be part of the new BBC Charter, our ambition should be to take it to 2027-28, where we double and then double it again. So we keep going for the long term. We are investing in commercial news, investing in BritBox and Select, because we know that will pay off in future years. We are investing in the licensed team for Bluey, so that when the movie comes out in August 2027, we're really in a good place to keep growing. So, go on.
I was going to say, is it just me or did just read as delusional a little bit? You know what I mean?
It's ambitious.
Yeah, it's ambitious, but they're saying all these kind of things. Will they actually be able to meet their targets and do what they're planning to do? I don't think they will. They're living in a bubble. That's the problem, I think.
How do they have shareholders?
Yeah.
Well, does that... If they're a private company, they must do. No, because studios, of course, or commercial would be private. So they must do.
But essentially, we are the shareholders if you buy a TV license, surely. Really,
BBC.
Yeah.
BBC, but not.
But even if it's a spin-off, we still are effectively, really. I would say, really, if you want to be pedantic about it. But I think we are. You know, we're the original.
How do they know? Yeah. How do they know what's going to be in the next charter?
Well, this is what I'm thinking, because they are obviously now with Lisa Nandy. They're obviously writing that and putting that together, aren't they?
Before she goes on her fourth vacation. Yeah.
Well, it would also, if she gets replaced, then they would have to continue that, wouldn't they? They would continue it with whoever takes over.
Having said that, it's not stopping Mr. Burnham changing things, the policy. So why can't they change that as well? Probably, who knows?
But what always worries me, especially with what we know now about this particular government with the BBC, is that the BBC, well, we need this, and the government goes, okay, you can put that up.
Yeah.
Okay, you can do that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's the next one? Where are we? Let's go to this one. You mentioned market challenges in more traditional parts of the business. We have seen many big companies looking to tackle them through mega mergers, from Paramount buying Warner Brothers, Discovery to the Sky deal for parts of ITV. Do you feel the appetite to buy more production companies, or do other M&A, and what do other industry deals mean for the BBC Commercial? Buying production companies in the UK is probably not in our top 10 of things that we're looking at. Setting up new labels in the UK with talent who may be coming out of some of these mega mergers, that's something we'd look at. On the whole, we've been putting our money in the past into development teams on the content studio side. Inorganically, we paid £255 million for the other half of BritBox, and we paid £173 million for the other half of UK TV. So we're in the market to do those deals, but we need capital to do them. Isn't this amazing? Isn't it amazing, this? They seem to be able to do this.
I'm still slightly bemused by the fact that Sky can buy parts of ITV. It gets a bit scary, and all these companies almost monopolise the industry a bit, and then that's a bit worrying, because then they have their own agenda, and it can be very skewed, again, like the BBC.
Yeah, it happened in America, didn't it? Didn't Time Warner buy somebody in America, and then eventually, obviously, we've had Netflix and Amazon come out of it and everything else. But they bought somebody and did big mergers, didn't they? And yeah.
I get lost with it all. All I see eventually is that one big company like Disney is going to own everything eventually.
Yeah.
And that's wrong. That is totally wrong. We've got Tony Farrell saying to us, Fussell is, I think, living in a parallel world. How does he know that the charter will even be renewed? Do we think the current government will last until 2027? That's a very good point, the way it's going now. However, I think, though, Tony, under this current government, the charter will be renewed. I don't think they're going to do anything to radically... we know this particular government, I can't see it changing with Burnham tomorrow. But I think they will say, no, the BBC is important, that we love the BBC, we have to have the BBC. Yes, you can stay. And they'll do another 10-year charter.
The BBC facilitates government propaganda, doesn't it? Especially when it's far left, and they're not going to want to rock that boat. They want to keep that, which is too useful to them.
Yeah, I think so right now. Yeah. They're still whining about Paramount and Warner Brothers at the moment, says Funky. And Stephen O'Neill saying in 2018, AT&T acquired and bought out Time Warner for an estimated $85.4 billion. Bloody hell. Following the acquisition, AT&T renamed Time Warner to Warner Media. Oh, right. Okay. That's a lot of money. I can't even imagine that, I'm afraid, guys. I can't imagine it. And Rick Storm saying to us, that's okay. The charter will be cancelled in 2029 regardless. You're hoping there,
at the absolute latest. Yeah, let's hope so.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got that particular one. So he's talking about that there. He goes on to say, what we're really working on now is our US business that is growing really well in unscripted under Ryan O'Dowd. Dancing with the Stars had a record finale, so you know about that. The 1% Club, which is shown on ITV here, by the way, has done really well on Fox. And Nation's Dumbest is launching with Jack Whitehall tomorrow night on Fox.
Isn't that BBC Parliament over here?
Yeah, probably. We've got a new primetime commission called Dancing with the Stars, The Next Pro, with the winner of last year's Dancing with the Stars, Robert Irwin, which is a new IP for Disney later this year. So we're really thrilled by the growth we're seeing in that market. Okay, so obviously the BBC have all these what look like very good relationships with people in broadcasting around the world. And BBC Commercial here, and here he is again, Tom Fussell from Studios saying here, this is what I said at the top of the show, that they seem to be doing really well, which again is why I'm asking you, everybody, is the BBC still a good home for Doctor Who? Okay, the poll is still open. On to this one now. BBC content has done really well on YouTube, and you have described it as a platform that can be addictive. Any other digital moves that you are making or seeing as key opportunities, say in the vertical content space? I'm glad you asked about this, he says. Vertical video is now $100 billion and growing business. That's broadly double YouTube's own revenue and double Netflix's revenue. I'm really proud of the work our team has been doing here, and it's not just Bluey. We've got Top Gear and all sorts of big archive channels doing it, and our watch time there is more than any other UK broadcaster and most global SVODs as far as we can see. This is amazing stuff. It goes on to say, what we're doing is boosting the capabilities in the advertising sales space. We've got a really good North American advertising sales team, and we've got some people joining around the rest of the world. With brand partnerships, we can really start monetizing these things. We've grown the traffic, we've grown the share. Now we'll start making some more money with our partners, and I think it's going to be a really big growth area for us, not just on traditional long form YouTube, but also short form YouTube and short form on Reels and other vertical channels. The economics are more challenged on some of the vertical video things at the moment, but I don't think they'll always stay that way. It's something where we see growth. FAST is another area where we're seeing growth. We've got over 300 FAST channels now around the world. So it's just a huge growth area. We have a very rich archive, a very rich amount of IP, but more so content. People come to us on the back of what we're doing with Bluey and Beyond. They say, can you represent us and be our operator? And that's a big growth area for us. We are Britain's global content studio. We're the home of British streaming. But we also have a brand IP powerhouse, and that's the area I really want to grow.
What's interesting with this is you're talking about advertising. So they can do adverts within the advertising within programming in the States. Is that what they're saying? So if they can take advertising in any form, then why can't they just take it on the BBC?
Well, just remember as well, Paul, that on all the U channels, they are advertised. They've got
exactly, yeah. So if they can advertise any other shape or form, any other platform like this or on American TV, whatever, why can't they simply take advertising on the BBC itself? Why is that still so sacrilegious not to be able to do that on TV? I don't understand.
Makes no sense, does it, at all?
No,
and how can an organisation that has a section called BBC Commercial refuse to take commercials?
Yeah.
it's a nonsense. It's an absolute nonsense. They won't do it because they don't want to do it, because they have people like us over a barrel that are forced to pay it by decree of the government on pain of imprisonment.
Yeah.
I mean, where the hell else does that happen in this world? It's crazy.
I think, again, it's down to what we've said before. I think it's down to snobbishness, and I think it's down to a genuine fear. Yes, this is looking good for BBC Commercial, BBC Studios. This is all looking good. They've got all these things that have been developed over years and years and years. Good for them. That's brilliant. That's great.
But at least they're admitting they have a good content of archive material. But at least they recognise that, which is good.
But the whole thing about this, yeah, as I say, they've got all that stuff, and that's great. But what they're not looking at, and what they're frightened to do, is say to the British public, you have a choice whether you pay for us or not.
Yeah.
Because I think the realism will then hit home about the state the British public see for the BBC. Because it's all well and good selling this stuff across the world. It looks fantastic. Yeah. I'm reading this and I'm thinking, this is fantastic. But the problem is, when we live here, the reality is the BBC doesn't deliver on BBC One, 2, and all the other crap.
No, it's about an analogy being made about the fact they're doing like recently they did Doctor Who with Ncuti Gatwa, right? And then they did a spin-off as well. It's like, get your main show right first before you go somewhere else. So exactly. The BBC, the same way, have to sort out their own homegrown stuff before they're doing this stuff abroad, because that's what's wrong with it, is their main UK programming, nothing to do with the stuff they're trying to do and get investment abroad. So they need to sort out what they're doing here in the UK properly and justify the license fee if they have it at all.
Tony Farrell saying to us, I don't understand this at all. Join the club. If BBC Commercial is an independent company, why does it need the BBC to fund its borrowing needs? Surely it should be able to borrow on its own merit if it's that good. There's a lot of investment going on there, so maybe the money's all tied up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But the initial investment must come from the BBC license fee, surely it doesn't initially.
In which case, how can there be a private business if we funded it?
Yeah.
I don't think it does. I don't think it does, because remember, they sell formats. I mean, Dancing with the Stars is the Strictly Come Dancing format. Now, Strictly Come Dancing, and it's all called Dancing with the Stars all around the world, and it's hugely popular. Also, don't forget the tours. You've got Dancing with the here. You've got the Strictly Come Dancing tour. You've got the Gladiators tour. You've got shows for ITV that tour. You know, you've got all these sorts of things. They're making money. Doctor Who makes an awful lot of money for them. Okay, so they'll be. I mean, when they want to do concerts and stuff, they rake it in immediately within hours, don't they? They get loads of stuff coming back on that. Multiply those formats. Look at The Traitors. The Traitors is a huge hit. The format has been sold 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 onwards times now around the world. There's a Traitors tour going to be happening allegedly. There's a Traitors show, live show coming out. That's all BBC Studios.
But the original investment to making the program comes from the license fee, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What?
The original investment for all this stuff after it comes from the license fee when they develop the programs first, and then they sell the formats, but they make it from our money, don't they?
Yeah. Well, they wouldn't have known that The Traitors was going to be successful when they first made it, would they? So they would have had an influx of cash from the license fee.
Yeah.
Only a small amount. My understanding has always been, if the BBC commission a show and the BBC Studios is going to be partly brought up, the BBC will put a certain amount of money into it. That's certainly what they do with Doctor Who. It's only a small amount when it comes to that, because they haven't got any. BBC Studios top it up, and that's why they need production partners, because they have to top it up even more. Look how much Disney put into Doctor Who. Millions. More than it's ever had before. That's a massive top up. But no, I mean now, of course, BBC Studios are also getting commissions from ITV, Channel 4, Sky. Look at what's happening with. They've also done stuff for Netflix and Amazon. If you look at where these programs are now those things might not have got money from the BBC. BBC Studios, since Enterprises is now its own thing, it can afford to do its own stuff. But when you're going into a production partner, as far as I'm concerned, when you're going into a production with a partner, you'll say to something like the BBC, okay, you want Doctor Who? You've commissioned it. Okay, you give us that amount of money. We'll put this in, and then, do you know what I mean? So it's not fully, BBC Studios is not fully funded by the taxpayer at all. They can do it themselves.
And then in that case, then why didn't the license fee?
Well,
the licensee
exactly.
is the BBC.
Yeah.
The license fee is BBC, isn't it? It's not BBC Studios. The license fee is to keep BBC 1, 2, 3, 4, the radio stations going. It's nothing to do with studios.
If they put it all behind a paywall and made just the people that wanted to see it pay for it, and then reality hit them, like you've said, JT, like we've said before, then somebody would have to explain how that 256-page document was saying one thing when reality said something different, and that'd be embarrassing for them as well. And I would love to see it.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I don't think they want to go to a subscription service personally, because it would be a welcome call. I mean, even BBC News is now not part of the BBC, but it does get something from the license fee, if not everything. I'm not sure. I'd have to look into that. BBC milking says problem being the Traitors show for everything it's worth. This is the mistake they make all the time. Overexposure makes a show a victim of its own success, and people tire of it quickly. And when you've got things, I agree, probably when you've got things like the Traitors and Gladiators as the two big things at the moment. I mean, I think they've been very, 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 very lucky with Strictly Come Dancing, because that's been going for 21 years. This year, 2026 will be the big make or break as to whether it continues, because it's a brand new team, brand new presenters, brand new dancers, brand new looks, some new things in it, brand new. It's going to float, or it won't. So it'll definitely go for this year and 2027, definitely. But after that, who knows? Because people will take a couple of years, I reckon. The fans will take a few years to get used to this new presenting team and new format. So that's the big test for them. They'll all be a little bit concerned, a little bit worried. But the sales of Dancing with the Stars, as it became everywhere else for some reason, is massive. So they've been very lucky with that. But the Traitors and Gladiators, I think, have a shelf life.
Yeah, I think they do, yeah.
And you can't make a movie out of the Traitors.
No,
you can't. Or Gladiators, really, to be fair.
No, because it's entertainment of a different sort, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is why Doctor Who, everybody, is really important to them, and why they have to get it right. Because Doctor Who, if it's done right in its next venture and its next reiteration, if it's looked after properly, if it brings back the masses of fans, if it brings back the public, you could be looking at a film franchise there. You could be looking, obviously, at all decent merchandise coming out. You could be making a lot of money. Because don't forget, since BBC Enterprises, guys, we've been contributing to the success of BBC Enterprises worldwide, commercial and studios, through the Doctor Who merchandise.
Bizarrely, though, if they got the Disney iteration right, they would have made movies with them. If you look at some of the stuff that they made, like Mandalorian movie, that whether success or not is debatable, but that came from Disney's Disney Channel, so that came from that, spawned from that. If Doctor had been successful with them, we could have a movie with Disney. Well, it's a good or a bad thing, I'm not sure, but it could have happened if it was treated right.
It could have turned into the, what's it called, the Grogu thing.
A bit like a version of Disney's Black Hole. Remember that movie? A bit like that.
So. I quite like that, though. That's fine.
It's
Here's the main bit, though, out of this bit with Hollywood Reporter. This main bit is, how about AI as an investment area? We've got an AI label under BBC Studios Productions CEO Zy Bennett, run by Alice Taylor, who has come from Disney. We're testing and learning and trying different things there in line with the BBC's AI principles. It's quite exciting. So, where are they testing some stuff with AI?
On the collection sets.
Yeah.
So there you go. Now you know why, everybody, because as it says there, we've got an AI label.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, I saw George Lucas said that AI will make filmmaking so much better or easier for them. I'm concerned about that because if it's done right, maybe. But I remember when George Lucas brought out the original, the Star Wars prequels, Phantom Menace, etc. He overused the CGI and stuff and overdid it. If they do the same thing with AI, it's just going to be terrible. I think,
Yeah.
It explains an awful lot, though, doesn't it? Because they've been testing stuff, and look what they choose to test it with.
Yeah.
The one audience.
See where that got them. Yeah, that's a lot of
audience that are really critical.
Yeah. And the things that didn't need it either. But did you in the chat know they have a BBC AI department?
No.
So now you do. Now we know. Thank you, Hollywood Reporter. And then finally, there's this. Doctor Who is in a rework stage, and the BBC has decided to put the show out to competitive tender, meaning production companies can bid for it. How do you feel about this franchise's future? Tom Fussell replies, we're really energized by entering into that tender process with a view to having one of our labels winning it. We remain the distributor. We remain the licensor of the consumer product. We believe in Doctor Who. We've helped make it for over 60 years. We want to make it for another 60.
Yes, well,
Yeah, anybody else off?
Yeah. Yeah.
There you have it, though. So it's confirmation that when this tender process is done and released, BBC Studios will be probably the first at the door. I'll be very interested to see if they release the details of whom else is bidding for it, though.
I was going to say that. Yeah, I'd be interested to see what other independent companies are interested, if any. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, if any. I mean,
because overall, Stephen Moffat saying, yes, there's lots of them doing it. Yeah. Yeah. Kind of thing.
Yeah. But I'm going to ask you now, everybody, in the chat, Paul, Ian, I'm going to ask you what I was asking at the top of the show. Now that we've looked at all this, we've looked at the annual report, we've looked at what they're saying, both DG Matt Britton and BBCS CEO Tom Fussell, we've looked at that. Is this a done deal with BBC Studios already? Is BBC Studios and the BBC going to be the home for Doctor Who?
I think it is, personally, and I do think this is all. I know they're meant to open up, and as you said, Ian, if people find out it's actually already in the bag with BBC Studios, then people might kick off. But my gut feeling is that no one else is interested, and that's just me. But we'll have to see.
I think it probably is. I don't trust the BBC. I don't trust the BBC to play fair. I think they will load the dice on this one.
Oh, yeah.
And if they want to do it, they will engineer it so that they get it. I don't think it'd be the best home because it's an abusive home. It's one that has not looked after the legacy that this show has brought us. They've been very negligent on that, and I don't think they're the best place for it. But they will probably get it, but it'll be through foul means, not fair.
Yeah. If the alleged abusers have left the building, that's okay. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot to leave a building, though, isn't there?
Yeah, there'll be no one there.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff. A lot of you in the chat responded to this. Well, there you go, says Legion of James. They are not going to change a thing. Doctor Who is dead. Marie UK saying to us, I hate AI YouTube videos. That's not what YouTube is meant for. I agree with that. I also hate those bloody adverts that have now started to creep in, which is so obviously AI, because it's ridiculous. It's like somebody's being dubbed because the mouth doesn't move properly and all this sort of stuff, or the dancing cow. Yeah, that sort of stuff. It just looks absolutely awful.
When they do Doctor Who ones as well, it's like, who's that? Oh, that's Wayne Hartnell. Is it? Oh, right. Oh, that's Tom.
Yeah.
Oh, is that Doug Baker? Is it? All right. It's like really badly done.
It's really. I mean, as I've said before, the thing scares me to death because I don't understand it properly, and I always admire some of the stuff. I think it's increasing rapidly, as George Lucas, as you said, there is behind it as well.
Yeah,
I do think it will get to the point where BBC Studios start releasing whatever the equivalent of a Blu-ray is going out there with the missing episodes as AI. I think that's going to happen.
Oh yeah,
I think that's on the way because that's another way they can get money out of us. So I do think we will be getting at some point in the future William Hartnell and Patrick Troughton stories reimagined with AI.
Yeah,
as much as they possibly can. I think that's on the way. But
me too. Yeah,
especially now that we know, and we've had it confirmed, that is an AI department in BBC Studios, very busy at the moment. Robert Payne is saying BBC Studios now seems the most likely. If it is not, the publicity is undermining the fairness of the tender process. That's a very good point.
They were played fair before, like Ian said. Not really. So yeah.
Well, how many production companies might be put off by that already? Think, what's the point? Because they're going to win it. Jason Parker. BBC Studios wins against BBC Studios. That's happened before, quite honest, I have to say. Do we know who got casualty?
BBC Studios.
Richard Brooks saying to us, there is no profit for a commercial production company. Jess Corbin, that lot will have the future Doctor Who in the bag. It's a done deal, RIP Doctor Who. There's also the point there, Who viewers, as well, as I pointed out on Tuesday, that Tom Fussell is saying BBC Studios know the fans. As I said then, gentlemen, I want to know your opinion on this. They don't. They only know the majority of fans that they selected, that they welcomed in, that they preached to, hence Circuit Breaker. They're not bothered with the majority of fans like us and everybody in the chat across the world that are saying, we don't want anything from the end of Capaldi onwards, thank you. We don't want your Dr. DEI nonsense.
Well, the thing about the Fugitive Doctor is like, why wait and see what the sales are like for Circuit Breaker before you decide on whether or not you're going to go with that, because that's the wrong message. It's the wrong. If they're not selling it and it's doing really badly, then surely that's evidence to prove we don't want it. If no one's buying it,
They don't know the audience of Doctor Who at all. They know their preferred demographic that they aimed it for.
Yeah.
But they have to be able to make that connection. We aimed it at them. It died a death. It was horrendous. It was a complete and utter failure. It made one of the largest producers in the world walk away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they know the fans either. I think they, as I said the other day, I think that's something that they're missing out on. They've got to start listening. Somebody mentioned market research. Let's hope it happens. Legion James is asking us, any word on the next standard Blu-ray release? I'm getting closer to pension age.
Aren't we all?
Unfortunately not. Unfortunately not. No, quite honestly. What else we got? BBC Studios are remaking Rising Damp, says Avon. Oh, God. Oh, dear. And Real Geriatric saying to us, when stuff is put out to tender, the BBC Studios wins about 74% of the time, so it's highly likely that they will win. It's not a conspiracy. Oh. And again, Legion of James saying again, BBC Studios absolutely do not know the fans, especially the legacy fans who were there for decades prior to New Who. This is what will worry me about if they get it. Who will they aim the show at? And will they, because BBC Studios are so ingrained in what's gone on with RTD and Chris Chibnall, and look at their social media now, you always see blooming Joe Martin, you'll see Whittaker, John Hurt shoehorned into all this. Do we really want that continuation going just to please a minority of a minority who are all demanding that it does? BBC Studios are aware of that. They might actually try and do that, in which case it's a flop from minute one.
Yeah.
You know?
Did you see Joe Martin's Sonic Screwdriver, though? Did you see that?
I'm aware of it, but I'm
not a euphemism, is it, that?
No. It's not a euphemism. I know it should have been, but it's not.
Thank you, Margie75, for your comment there. And the Jason Parker saying the BBC know the permissive fans, and how did chasing those phantom hypothetical fans go? Ask Disney.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
Real Geriatric is saying Doctor Who is dead, RIP. I will live in classic Who. There's plenty still to enjoy there. Oh, there absolutely is. Jess Corbin, wherever you are. Thanks again to JT and the minions to the chat. Stay safe, stay sane, and don't forget the sunscreen. Oh, you're absolutely right. Yeah, we need it over here at the moment. It's good stuff.
We do, yeah.
Raymond Williams is saying season 16, The Key to Time, is an easy box set release. Get it done. The long waits are not needed. BBC Studios, that's all I'm saying. And Dalek Shalom, just shelf post 2005 is done, like the new Avengers had its time.
Yeah.
Avon is saying, yes, Ian, I agree. Disney got its fingers burnt. And Jason Parker again, BBC Studios should be banned from touching Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Interesting, everybody. That's interesting. Okay, let's get into the chat. We've been asking you this evening, all evening, is the BBC still the right home for Doctor Who? We asked you yes or no. Very, very simple. I'm going to stop the poll now, and here's the results. Thank you to everybody this evening who bothered to vote for this. Really appreciate it. 27% of you said yes, the BBC is still the right home for Doctor Who, but 73% of you said no, it's not.
Yeah, I'm with the no myself. Yeah,
me too. Yep.
Do you know, it breaks my heart because for me, the BBC is Doctor Who's home.
It should be,
It started. It's where it should be. It's always going to be on, I think, on BBC One because it's their show. And they're always going to say, we want it for however many weeks for our schedule at such and such a time of year on such a time. You know, they're always going to say that. I'm just concerned that BBC Studios might, as I say, just continue a bad job.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think at this moment, and we haven't had any clarification, but I would love them to be able to sit down with somebody like us and say, we hear you and we are going to do. I mean, it's too early. They might surprise us. I don't know.
Well, that's what I thought about Russell T Davies' second time round, and look what happened.
That is true. Yeah.
So,
We all hoped, didn't we?
I'm hugely skeptical. I want to be proven wrong again, but it's not going to happen.
It's like Disney themselves, though, isn't it? They got the fingers burned, so did we, badly.
Yes, definitely. And I think it's worrying, really. I mean, we've got a long way to go. Let's see how it goes. But I'm going to say it again. If they don't bring back the masses of fans they alienated, if they don't bring back the public, it's done for good.
Yeah.
Last chance, because we're all tired. The majority of the British public have certainly walked away. Thank you for that, Connor. Thank you for that. Richard Brooks is saying to us as well, perhaps BBC Studios will want to make some money. If they do, then make a show that is for everyone, not you're right, it's got to be for everyone. And Dr. Wants 1043, hiya to you. The funny thing about Martin's Sonic Screwdriver hasn't gone down with the fans. They don't even know what those fans want, hasn't it? I didn't know that.
What's it like? I've not seen it.
It's a bit like the it's a bit compared, but it's a bit like the Pertwee Baker one, except it doesn't have the red bit on the top. It's got like a cross between that Sonic and the one the War Doctor had, kind of a bit like that sort of thing. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Not as good as the original one, or the Pertwee one. Yeah, but
no.
Let's see.
They forget that Doctor Who went.
I don't know.
They forget that it went for nearly 6 years without one. Really.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them looked like a gun, didn't it? The original.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still, I don't understand. I mean, again, that circuit breaker thing, as we've said before, it's for a minority of a minority. I'd love to see the sales figures. Julianne, if they are conflating shills with fans, then it'd be more of the same from the BBC. No independent production company which wants to make money would want a dead franchise anyway.
Exactly.
This is the problem, you know, and they've all got to do their blooming homework, and they've got to look at people like us and just say, oh, this is an issue. Are we going to invest money into this on very little return? As far as I'm concerned, they're going to have to go in and negotiate, aren't they? They're going to have to say, well, we want this from you. But the BBC seems to be holding all the straws. That's how it looks anyway.
They'll have to go out and talk to those that are toxic and twisted.
Yeah.
And Real Geriatric is saying to us, imagine if it comes back and it's hateful. You three are going to have to watch and review it. I thank you in advance. Well, I'm hoping it's not going to get to us till at least 2030, maybe 2031. So
by then we'll have mellowed a bit by then, I'm sure. But
well, you might have done. I'll be still 29. So
think for yourself, Paul.
We'll see. We will see. But yeah, I mean, as I keep saying to you all at the moment, the show being off air is the news in itself. We're going to be looking at everything that's going on around it, including our continual look at the BBC. We will continue to be saying, as we go through this hiatus period, has the BBC got this in the bag? It certainly looks today to me, as we're broadcasting on the 19th of July, 2026, that they do. But time will tell, as someone once said. Paul, Third Doctor Ian, interesting show tonight. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed all that.
Very much so, yeah. Nice to be back.
Really good. Nice and meaty subject, wasn't it?
It was. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more of that as we go through this hiatus, because yes, Doctor Who is, as you all know, currently off air. Hiatus 2 is with us, and long may it reign. And some people may call that toxic. Who cares?
Or twisted even.
I don't care. I don't care. Don't forget, if you are new to the channel, please subscribe. If you're not new to the channel, please make sure you are still subscribed. You can give us a hype after the show if you want to. And of course, you can give us a thumbs up. Everything helps the algorithms here on YouTube, which is really difficult, by the way. Really difficult. So thank you for all your support as ever. Don't forget, Visitations Blackpool. The tickets are on sale now. All the details were there for you. Come and see us. We're going to have a great weekend. It's going to be fabulous. From Paul, from Third Doctor and myself, until we see you next time on the channel, All the shows are up there on the show page for you. Come and join us for a good old chat. And don't forget, in a couple of weeks' time, we're doing our Audience with Whose Views. That's the time where we're going to be basically having a big old chat on the show, and you can get involved. And if there's any questions or anything you want to ask us, that's the show to do it as well. It's all about chatting away. That's it. Until we see you next time on the channel, thanks for joining us tonight. Hope you enjoyed it. Ta-ra, everyone. Take care of yourself.
Bye-bye.
Bye.